What's up? It is not the afternoon, guys, and that is my fault. My apologies about that. I had a lot going on today at work, right? And I also had to tend to wifey, so that was my fault about the afternoon news that I did promise you guys. But I am still back on for night news, and we did say that earlier today as well. I told you guys that night news was something that I wanted to bring back to you guys, but that's something that I usually do a little bit more in the winter. I'm not gonna lie, just because the way my scheduling looks, and usually during the wintertime I'm on vacation a long time, right? So it just gives me the flexibility that I usually don't have throughout the year. I don't go on vacation much throughout the year. I usually hold my vacation back to the end of the year. And I'm usually going for a substantial amount of time from work. So my sleep schedule changes for how long I'm going. What do they say? It takes 21 days to build a habit. So literally my sleep schedule changes. So clearly right there is a clue, right? I'm on vacation longer than 21 days, usually at the end of the year. But nonetheless, we are back at it, night news. Shout out to everybody watching it who is going to come in. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button if you're not already a part of the fam. And also go ahead and share the live stream for me. That does a ton for the channel. It does a ton for the video. Hashtag crack the algorithm. I appreciate you guys. So, as promised, night news and talks. Let's see what we got on the agenda here. We got a couple things on the agenda here. I really don't even want to spoil everything because sometimes I just kind of like to give you guys news. But I still put some of it in the title. So let's go title first. Let's go here first because I know some of it's in the title. So first up title, we got breaking news. Trump calls JD Vance and Mark Rubio a dream team. Now, I actually got to watch this clip live. It was funny. Trump, he was having a different press conference. It wasn't pertaining to those two being the dream team, but it was something that he mentioned. I thought it was hilarious because he kind of goes on a tangent and he wants to pull himself back from saying it, but he can't. So he's kind of like, I mean, I think it's nice. You by no means have my endorsement, but I think JD and Marco Rubio would be a dream team. I thought that it was hilarious that he said that. So you don't have my endorsement yet, there'll be a dream team. I'm like, come on, Trump, come on. So I guess that was a low-key endorsement that we saw President Trump give JD Vance and Marco Rubio as far as a ticket with those two together. It's kind of like this, you guys. You tell me. I told my wife this. I said, I feel like if JD Vance and Marco Rubio are on the same ticket, that's going to be a hard ticket to beat for the Democrats. Simply because, one, if JD Vance and Rubio were on different tickets, I said to my wife, I can't see who would either of their vice presidents be if they weren't on the same ticket. So that's one. The second thing is, as far as those two on the same ticket, and what was the other thing? Because it's not impossible. I don't know who would be their vice president. Oh yeah, and as far as the Democratic side, I don't know who would beat them on the Democratic side. Like this has been hard for me. So most polls I've been watching live, a lot of people, like I hop in and out of a lot of different political live streams, just people that I'm sub to and I watch. A lot of different people are saying that they would vote for Gavin Newsom, and I'm not gonna lie, that's low-key annoying to me. I'm like, wow. Like some polls I've been in, 60% of the people are like they'll vote for Gavin Newsom, and I'm like, please tell me you guys are trolling right now, because almost every friend I have in California is like they would never vote for Gavin Newsom. So it has to be an absolute troll when I'm in a live stream of 60% of people saying that. And then we have China talk. So Bill O'Reilly, he's gonna do some coverage on China and talk a little bit about what China has been up to and what they've been talking about in regards to the United States. And then we got Candace Owens. She covered, is Nick Shirley a plant? I thought this was hilarious. I was like, wow, Candace thinks Nick is a plant. That's interesting. So we're definitely going to get to at least these clips that are in the title, right? How far we go will be determined, because sometimes I like to save some of this for our morning news. When I actually get to make afternoon news, I like to save it. So, and because of some of the changes and things I have coming up on the channel, I definitely want to make sure I have the right audience here when I'm playing certain things. So some things I like to play, And just regardless of who's popping in and out, I'm still going to play it because I know you guys are going to come in and watch. Other things, I like to wait until we have a little bit more consistency because the news is just that good. So let's jump into the first clip. Trump calls J.D. Vance and Rubio a dream team, which I thought this was hilarious.
A lot of beauties out there, JD. I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have... Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD That was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details. That does not mean you have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, it was a big and then a very nice. I think it sounds like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate. A lot of beauties out there, Jim.
So it's funny the way he does that, right? He's like, it starts out nice. He just drives me crazy when he does that. We also have something from MS Now. So MS Now is also covering something called Marco Momentum. So we're gonna play that, but I'll play that clip one more time for you guys so you guys can see it because I know people are gonna come in and out of the live stream. But he literally low key gives them an endorsement. Like he sets it up. He's like, I don't know. It sounds like potential 2028 presidential, and I'm like, come on, Trump, really? So we'll play that clip one more time because that is a YouTube short. The MS Now video is a little longer than that. I believe it's about 6 minutes.
JD, I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have... Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD That was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details.
Sure.
That does not mean you have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, it was a big and then a very nice. I think it sounds like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate. A lot of beauties.
Are you looking to sell your house as is without the hassle of costly repair?
The memes online would certainly suggest Marco Rubio is becoming a thing. Joining me now, former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent from Pennsylvania and Philip Baum, senior data editor and columnist for Hearst. Philip, Rubio's video has already gotten about 4 million views. It includes those sweeping music.
Okay, so shout out to MS Now. The video that the news anchor is referring to is a video that's kind of floating around on the internet right now that people are saying, is this Marco Rubio's intro to his presidential 2028 candidacy, right? Like it kind of looks like some type of endorsement video. I've gotten a chance to watch it. It doesn't look bad. It looks pretty nice. I would say it looks presidential, right? Like it looks like something that I guess if he were trying to promote himself as such, it would look like it's fitting. It sounds like it's fitting. I mean, it sounds like it's something someone just kind of threw together, like even AI could have done it. But people are saying like this is like Mark Rubio's sneak peek into it. So I'll see if I can find the video by itself. I can find it on other people's channel who have reacted to it, but I'll see if I can find it by itself. I was trying to look for it before I started the live stream, but let's keep watching the clip.
Entrees and hero shots of Rubio spliced together with images of Ronald Reagan. Does this tell you that the 2028 race is essentially on, as those conservative podcasters alluded to?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been on for a while, sort of quietly. I think what's fascinating about this video is that now it's over, right? There's no question what Rubio is doing here. He's seizing on the opportunity. But what does that actually tell us, right? It doesn't tell us a whole lot about who's going to win in 2028. I mean, we know, in May 2014, we would not be talking about Donald Trump being the 2016 nominee. We'd be talking about Jeb Bush. What this tells us, though, is that Republicans are now overtly planning for the post-Trump world. And I'm very curious to see how Trump's going to respond to that as this moves forward. There's certainly some palace intrigue here as well. But we know that there's a coming tension on the right about what happens once Donald Trump is out of office. This is Marco Rubio planting a flag at a time when Donald Trump is actually pretty weakened politically.
Congressman, the Washington Post also points out the billionaire Elon Musk, who in the past has been pretty critical of Rubio and has been more enthusiastic about Vice President J.D. Vance, actually promoted that clip. And we heard this from ex-Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Listen.
Marco Rubio, that guy can do anything. The memes are right. To a press conference. But when they asked him the question, he answers it from the soul of America. I think really captures it.
Does Rubio come off as more authentic than Vance? What's the magic sauce here?
Well, I think Rubio did himself a great service with that speech. It was very aspirational, forward-looking, in many ways very uplifting and unifying. And you contrast that with J.D. Vance, who I think is more like Trump in the sense that they speak more to grievance. So I think that was really helpful to Rubio. But remember, this is a long way off, 2028. And also remember that, Donald Trump's numbers are really bad. They're in the 30s right now as approval ratings, and maybe they improve a little bit before the 2028 election, but I can't imagine they're going to improve that much. And they could. You don't want to set yourself up as running for Donald Trump's third term when he's this unpopular, whether you're J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. That said, I think Marco Rubio is in many ways a much more appealing candidate than J.D. Vance. Just given how he likes to talk to Republicans, more like me, frankly, than the.
So he's not the first one who feels like that. There are many people right now that feel like Marco Rubio is a more appealing candidate than J.D. Vance. Some people are like, where is this coming from? Like, where did Marco Rubio come from all of a sudden? Some people are like, it's been like this since day one. Some people are calling it the Marco momentum. I don't know. Like I said, I can't see them on separate tickets. I don't know who would be Marco's vice president. I don't know who would be JD's vice president. I can see them on the same ticket. I do feel like the Democrats are going to struggle. Because tell me, who's going to be Gavin Newsom's vice president? Like, let's say Gavin Newsom is the 2028 presidential candidate, right, on the Democratic side. Who's going to be his vice president? Like, literally, if you guys feel like you have somebody credible that you could put in the chat, please put it in the chat. But I don't think I think the Democrats are going to struggle in 2028. Literally, I don't see anybody. And the reason why I said Gavin Newsom, because I don't want to hear it. Don't even put it in the chat. Talk about TDS hosts or nothing stupid like that. No one has Trump derangement syndrome over here. What I'm saying is that the only person I see scoring anything on the scoreboard for the Democrats right now is Gavin Newsom. No matter whose live stream I jump in and they're polling, 60% of the people are like, oh, we would vote for Gavin Newsom. So I'm like, how about Thomas Massey? I don't think that's actually not bad. You could have said it worse. Shout out to Terry. Hit that like button for me, Terry. Shout out to you. I appreciate the answer. At least you were bold enough to put one in the chat, because I know people are going to struggle with this. Like, I know they are. You actually you could have put something way worse, so shout out to you. But I mean, I do have something. I was watching, shout out to Valhalla TV. We've covered him on the channel before. I was watching his live stream earlier, and I don't know where he got the numbers from, but I did get a chance to get a screenshot of it. And he kind of has the presidential nominees lined up, but not in like by party, just kind of in order by like how they're doing. And I was kind of blown away by some of these numbers. And Kamala Harris is on here. I was like, oh my God. So I don't know how this is going to show for you guys, but it's probably going to show a little backwards. But I'm still going to put it right there for you guys so you can kind of see some of the people if you could see them. So it looks like Rubio right there is number 1. J.D. Vance is number 2. Gavin Newsom's number 3. Is that John? Who's that? Ossoff? Dude, how did John Ossoff get on here? What is happening? Who's voting for John Ossoff in 2028? Anybody in my chat is voting for John Ossoff? I can't imagine. I mean, some of you might be. But I was like, dude, how do they have this guy at number 4, 5.6%? And the crazy thing is that they have him right over AOC. She's at 5.7%, so they're pretty much tied. And then right under AOC, they have Kamala Harris. Who's under Kamala? Ron DeSantis. Oh my God, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is under Kamala Harris. They have Trump down there again. And then they literally have Josh Shapiro under Trump. That's crazy work. But yeah, like I was literally shocked at how far up they had some of these people. Gavin Newsom's number 3. That's it. Like, they have 2 Republicans at the top and Gavin Newsom. He's killing the game right now. I have no idea how John Ossoff got to number 4. I don't really know where that came from. Who's voting for John Ossoff? You guys mess with John Ossoff? I mean, I've actually watched some things by him. He's out in he's down in Georgia, so I'm pretty familiar with the guy. He's I would say he reminds me of James Tellerico, just a different version, but he just the charismatic, like how he talks, like how he presents himself. The way he is with the people, I'm like, oh God, this guy, man. I don't know how he got that high, but they have him over AOC. And AOC, I feel like she's very far left. I feel like she would have problems in the 2020. I mean, she'll be a little bit older than what she is now, but not by much. I mean, like 2.5 years? So, I don't know. Oh, and they actually have Andy Brashear on there. I actually missed him. They have him above Ron DeSantis, and they have him in between Kamala Harris and Ron DeSantis. Imagine that. But yeah, those are so we'll say for the top 5 right now, 2028 presidential nominees, right? Not by party, just in general. Number 1, they have Marco Rubio. Number 2, they have J.D. Vance. Number 3, they have Gavin Newsom. Number 4, they have John Ossoff. And number 5, they have AOC. That's crazy work. And Kamala's at number 6. That's insane. Let's keep watching.
The MAGA base, maybe the MAGA base is more excited about Vance. But Rubio did himself a service with that speech.
So to your point, though, is Rubio inextricably tied to some of the more unpopular policies, to the economic situation, to the war in Iran? Can he surmount that by the time we get to 2028? I know it's a long way off.
Yeah, it's a bigger problem, I think, for J.D. Vance, because Marco Rubio was never seen as a non-interventionist. J.D. Vance was, and now he's having to defend this intervention in Iran, and frankly, he's also been sent there to help negotiate, and that fell apart. So in many ways, I think Rubio will have to answer for Iran, but I think he's more comfortable speaking to the issue, given his worldview and how he's positioned himself over many years. For Vance, I think this is a much more difficult issue.
Philip, as you alluded to earlier, we know President Trump loves a rivalry. He's a big fan of the WWE. But he also doesn't really like being outshined himself. So how do you think he's going to view all of this Marco momentum?
Yeah, I think it's going to be increasingly great. Not necessarily just the Marco aspect, but the fact that Republicans are going to be consistently talking about 2028 and doing so more as the election nears. I think after the midterms, we're going to see a sudden rush of people trying to figure out how they can build space for themselves in this new era of when Trump is of fading importance. I'm skeptical that anyone who's close to Trump is really going to be able to step out from under his shadow. That may be beneficial in the primaries in 2028. I think it's going to be a net liability in the general. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. I think Rubio and Vance, yes, there are gradations between them, but both of them are Trump guys, right? And it is, Rubio is a better politician. Rubio knows how to walk the walk better. I think he has more general election appeal, but he is associated with Donald Trump's presidency, and I think that's going to be a net negative regard.
I think he points out a good point here when he says that Rubio's a better politician, because that is true. He is more polished than J.D. Vance. Dude, earlier it was so disrespectful. Somebody was like, J.D. Vance has the personality of what was it, babe? I think they said a wet napkin. I was like, oh my God, that's so disrespectful. Like, what is a wet napkin's personality? But it's like they've been going hard on JD lately. So I agree with Marco's the better politician. So I guess now it looks like who's between the two of them, if they're on the same ticket, who's running for president, right? Is it J.D. Vance because he's the VP, so people think naturally he should be the heir? Or is it Marco Rubio because of this Marco momentum that people are seeing and they're talking about? I don't know. I think because J.D. Vance is vice president, people probably expect J.D. to go straight to president. But I think it's kind of crazy to see like J.D. as president and Marco as vice. I'm like, as time went on, I feel like that should be flipped now. But I guess like if Marco's willing to take the vice, you know what I'm saying? He is older, so I would think he would want to go for president one more time. But I mean, then look at Trump. He's nowhere near Trump's age, so he's probably like, I'll give it a go a different time. But when I think about it, I mean, I guess it's not horrible with Rubio in the background kind of counseling JD or guiding him. You know, of course, depending on how humble JD is, because he could become president and be like, dude, shut the hell up. I'm not listening to anything you say. So it just depends. But I was listening to another live stream earlier where someone said they think that JD Vance is waiting till the midterms and to see how those numbers look. And, you know, if his numbers are favorable, then he'll run. But if they're not, they actually see him not running at all. I didn't take that into consideration. I don't know if any of you guys did, but I didn't take JD not running into consideration. I thought for sure, like, the way people are amping him up and the way people are kind of gassing him, of course this guy's going to run. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody loves him right now. His wife's having another baby. Like, why wouldn't he run? But, yeah, if his numbers don't look favorable, he's young enough to where I could see him being like, nah, you know, I'll let Marco take it and I'll be his vice president. So I could see that.
Regardless of whatever improvement may occur between now and then.
So, Congressman, I'm curious your thoughts here. Rubio's editing team made sure to include shots of the president. It looked pretty, calculated in this one. But we also know that Kristi Noem was fired in part after those questions over what we're seeing on our screens here, that produced ad, $200 million in a media campaign that showed her on a horseback at Mount Rushmore. So any chance that this surge in popularity for Marco Rubio, that glossy new, ad, or well, it's not an ad, a glossy new video, I should say, could actually backfire?
It's possible. But I think Marco Rubio's relationship with the president is much stronger and deeper than Kristi Noem's. I think the president has a lot of confidence and trust in Rubio, and that will help him. But just to speak to Phil's point, though, I am concerned, though, for Republicans that going forward, the party seems to be diminishing. And, if you think of what happened in 2016, when Hillary Clinton seemed to be running for Obama's third term in what was a change election year. I have a feeling that 2028 is going to be seen as a change election year with Trump being very unpopular. So, while right now we're talking about Vance and Rubio, there might be other Republicans, maybe a governor who has a little bit more distance from Donald Trump that, when voters are going to be maybe looking for something different than Trump, they might want to look elsewhere beyond these two candidates. So keep that in mind. Again, we're a long way off.
Yeah, I mean, we are a long way off. I still think the gentleman hit the nail on the head when he said a couple of things about Rubio. So you guys can go back and you can watch him. He's the last gentleman who's speaking. He made a couple of great points. I think that he did. So we're gonna go over to China talks with Bill O'Reilly. He's giving us some insight. He has one of the closest relationships with the Chinese than any journalist in America, right? Is that by happenstance? Like I said, Bill O'Reilly's he's an OG in the game, but again, he has a lot of ties, right? I attribute it to how long he's been doing it, right? I can't say that Bill O'Reilly is a plant of any sort, right? Like I said, the first time I've ever encountered the guy, I actually watched him interview rappers, so I know he's been doing it for a long time. He had a lot more hair the first time I ever seen him doing it, like interviewing rappers. And over the years, I watched him age. I feel like I watched him become a lot more humble over the years. So some people are like, Q, I can't believe you still watch Bill O'Reilly. I'm like, dude, blame it on my audience. You guys wouldn't believe that probably almost half my audience is 65 and plus. I bet you guys didn't know that. You wouldn't even believe that. So the OGs rock with me, right? I have respect for the OGs. That's probably why. You can't disrespect the people that paved the way. You just can't do that. So we're going to go over to Bill O'Reilly and listen to some China talks. But before we do that, we'll hear President Trump one more time call Rubio and J.D. Vance the dream team. This is hilarious to me.
A lot of beauties out there, JD. I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have... Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD. That was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details. That does not mean you have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, you know, it was a big and then a very nice. I think it sounds like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate.
This is where he cracks me up. He's like, it was big and then it was very nice. And it's like, what are you even talking about? So, you know, sometimes shout out to Adam Mockler, shout out to Keith Edwards. Like, there's a couple of guys I watch that are on the left that they're usually reacting to Trump. And they're like, Trump's dying. He's losing his mind. He's going insane. Like, dude, I just want those guys to know that we see it too sometimes. You know, we just forcefully see it a little bit less than you guys. So let's take a look at what Bill O'Reilly has to say about these China talks.
We're always on time. Call came in right. Well, Chinese are always on time. Call came in right when it was supposed to, around noon. And I had a very lively discussion with some members, very influential members of the Chinese Communist government in lieu or in advance, I should say, of President Trump's trip over there this week. So it's an off-the-record thing, as it was last time 1 year ago when I was physically in Beijing at their invitation. They want to follow up. But I can tell you a few things that I gleaned from the conversation. Number one, the Chinese are like, why did you do this in Iran? Not for an ideological reason, as the Democrats are here. It's like they want order, O-R-D-E-R, because it's good for business to have order. Any disruption in the world is bad for business. And the Chinese are all about making money now to feed their 1.5 billion people. That's what's going to be going on in the meeting between Xi, the president of China, and Donald Trump, the president of the United States. It's primarily an economic meeting. But as we reported this week so far, Trump would like...
So I don't know if Bill's going to go into grave detail as to why they're having this meeting. The news we covered this morning, Bill O'Reilly talked about how China wants a trade deal, right? How their economy is starting to really feel the pressures of what President Trump is doing, and nonetheless, they want a deal, right? So because they want a deal, they got 1.5 billion people over there that they gotta, they have to feed. They got to do something. Economy's collapsing, so essentially that's what's happening. They need a deal from President Trump. I don't know how deep Bill's going to go into that, but when we did morning news earlier, I did cover that, and again, Bill O'Reilly talked about it, but it was hours ago, so we knew why they were asking for this, and now he's talking about the fact that they have met or that it's coming up shortly now. I'm trying to see how long ago he did this. He did this... Okay, yeah, so this was 1 hour ago that he did this.
Like China to help out with Iran. You tamp them down and say, look, you got to stop the nonsense here. You're just disrupting everything. China, it's to their benefit to do it. They're never going to do it publicly. But behind the scenes, if Trump signals that he has some negotiating room on Taiwan, because she's crazed about Taiwan. Crazed. They want that Chinese flag flying over Taiwan. But all you'd have to do would be kind of, all right, we'll discuss it. I think that would be enough at this point. Because it's only a 2-day meeting, and I have to have another big meeting, probably sometime this summer. So what you have over there is the mood is good. I talked to the president, as we reported yesterday, on Sunday, and he was in a good frame of mind. Chinese tell me that the Politburo over there is very, I don't know if excited is the right word, but they're optimistic that this is going to be a good meeting. Now, my role in all this is an expediter. So I did debrief President Trump today about what was said, because I have to. You can't just do this on your own. And I told him pretty much what I told you. I told him a few other specifics that I can't tell you because it was off the record. But he's going into a situation where everything is positive except Iran. The Chinese don't care about Iran. They couldn't care less about the Middle East, about Israel, about Gaza. They don't care. Okay, but they do not want chaos. And they want their 20% oil, which they get from Iran. They don't want it held up in the Strait of Hormuz. So it's impossible, and I mean that word literally, to predict what the Chinese will do, because they'll never tell you. The only thing I got out of them was, why did you guys do this? Okay, and I kind of explained that a campaign promise was made by Donald Trump that the nuclear weapons were going to be taken away from the Iranians. And that was why. It's a campaign promise. This time, why now? Midterms coming up. I can't answer those questions. Okay, but the action's hurting America. It is. It's hurting us. And I got letters all over the place. Why don't we go in? We're not going in.
And that's one thing, that's part of the reason right there when people are like, oh my God, why are you watching Bill O'Reilly? Part of it is that right there, because at least he could say, it's hurting us. You have people that support the war that can't even say, yeah, I support it, but it's hurting us. It's like, dude, it stinks. Like, just be honest and say that it stinks. And that's what I can appreciate, about Bill as he ages. That's one thing about people as they age, right? They lose the filter, right? Now, some of us, we lose it when we don't have it when we're young. But I mean, when you're older, you don't have it and you're wise, right? So it's like, that's why I feel like it's so I don't know how to describe this, but I feel like it's like a knife and they stab it and they turn it when an older person curses you out. Like an elderly person, I don't know, it's just the one time like a person disrespects you and you feel like you can't do anything because it was an older person. It's like they curse you out so well. I don't know, man. I guess with time, wisdom just teaches them how to do that.
All right, with infantry, it's not happening. The American people do not want another Iraq. And that's what it would be. You'd have guerrillas, you'd have fighting, you'd have roadside bombs, you'd have it's not going to happen. Anyway, so you are up to speed. You're going to get this nowhere else. I'm bragging now, but, I think you're in the right to do that. World order is the big thing for the Chinese. Now, here's the schedule. 2 days in China. China's 12 hours ahead of us. So when the president comes back on Friday, he doesn't lose any time. He'll zip in there tomorrow. And this is a very tight schedule. There's a banquet, there's a lunch, there's a photo session, and there's a Q&A. President Trump's going to answer questions from the Chinese press. I hope he doesn't call them names. so get confused about that, like he does with the American press. But it's all lined up, and the Chinese, of course.
He said, "I hope he doesn't call them names."
So get confused about answer questions from the Chinese press. I hope he doesn't call them names.
Oh my gosh! Isn't that so embarrassing that we have to say that as Americans about our president? I'm like, dang, man. Bill O'Reilly says, "I hope he doesn't call them names." That's so bad. Trump's like a dirty grandpa. You know that? Like, that's like, if he was my grandfather, I'd be so mad. Like, God, man. I wonder if he drives his granddaughter crazy.
Oh, so get confused about that. like he does with the American press. But it's all lined up, and the Chinese, of course, they'll never admit this, but they're flattered because they know, this is a big deal.
This is not another minty treat to mask bad dog breath. This is pro-bright advance.
For a president of the United States to go to Beijing, the last time this happened was in 2017 when Trump visited them. All right, 16 CEOs, big shots. Tim Cook of Apple, Elon Musk, you can look it up if you want. They're all going too. And they are tasked with talking to their counterparts in China about deals, economic deals. Okay, so that's why they're going. We don't know who's going in the press pool. I think Sean Hannity is going. Doesn't seem to be anybody else on the sheet right now that would be out of the ordinary. I gave Hannity a few tips about, stuff that happens when he shows up. Nothing ominous, but, Hannity and I are friends, and you can listen to me. I believe that's coming up this week, but I'll let you know.
Speaking of Sean Hannity, he actually just did something with Stephen A. Smith that I have on the menu. I don't know if we're going to get to it tonight. I do want to watch some of it, but Sean Hannity asked Stephen A. Smith, who are 3 people you would vote for right now? And Stephen A. Smith said Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, Westmoreland, the governor of Maryland, and Marco Rubio. So those were the 3 people that Stephen A. Smith gave. I actually didn't think he gave bad people. I was actually shocked. I was like, okay, he could have gave someone a lot more terrible. Westmoreland actually doesn't. He gets a good rap from a lot of people I know. Like literally, whether they are actually conservative or liberal, he doesn't get a bad rap at all. And I'm talking about compared to somebody like a Hakeem Jeffries or like a Cory Booker. Yeah, right. Those guys are insane to me. But I mean, like Westmoreland, he gets a better rap than those guys. So I can't get mad at him for Westmoreland. I thought that was pretty decent. Josh Shapiro, not bad. Not bad, right? And then Marco Rubio. There goes the Marco momentum, right? So let's keep watching.
Board of Investment, Board of Trade, all of those things. Trade. So anyway, all Americans should be hoping that this works out for the USA, right? But you and I both know that's not happening. We are a very, very divided nation. And the news is not good on the economic front for the Republicans. So inflation hit 3.8%. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The 12 months ending last month, April, up 3.8. Okay, fastest annual pace since 2023. That's not a disaster. But it's up, and it's going, up. This is inflation that will raise everybody's cost of living. All right, you know about the gas prices, now the food prices are igniting again.
No,
this is not good for us.
No, it's not.
And the president knows, and he's got to try to tamp it down. And I can't predict it. I wish I could, but I can't, because the mullahs are crazy. They're crazy people.
That's the funny thing about this, because that's what I find funny, because at one point Bill was calling this. He was like, the president is definitely going to be able to get this under wraps, or his goal is to get this under wraps when common sense would tell us before the midterms, right? And Bill kept saying that. But because we are in May and everything is still going on, now he's saying, I just really can't call it. And that's because how close we are now. He's like, I can't call it anymore. And it's like, yeah, this is exactly what President Trump likes. He loves this unpredictability, for people to not know what the heck is going on and for everyone to just think he's insane. He literally, I know he feeds off this stuff.
And the Chinese know that, because they deal with their own Islamic problem with the Uyghurs in Western.
Dude, that's hilarious. Bill, shout out to you, Bill. Bill, I think you've been here before, right? Shout out to you if you have. Thanks for coming back. But probably not if you're saying TDS. I literally said earlier in the chat, I don't want anybody. I said, chat, don't put this is a TDS channel in the chat. Like, I feel like I'm being so troll right now because I said, no, I can just see both sides of things. I appreciate being able to see both sides of things, right? So that's all that this is, right? Just the way that I could say, like, President Trump is insane is the same way I could say, like, okay, I rock with President Trump in this area. He might be a little crazy over here, but I could, so no, this is not, shout out to you, Bill, but no, this is not a TDS channel. We're good over here. No derangement syndrome over here.
China. Also, the U.S. Treasury is now paying $3 billion a day in interest. Get a lot of mail on this. So the national debt under President Trump, never a spendthrift, okay, is rising and rising rapidly. It's approaching $30 trillion. So every day, the U.S. Treasury has to pay $3 billion in interest. It goes out every 6 months. Okay, who gets that money? So 81% of people who buy securities in the United States, that's U.S. savings bonds, other Treasury Department, whatever, are regular investors. 81%. And the other are intergovernmental agencies. So say Medicaid has a shortfall that month, they'll borrow from the Treasury. But they got to pay interest when they pay it back, the Medicaid people. That's where the money is going. The $3 billion a day, that's pretty much out of control. Well, I don't know if it's ever going to be dealt with. Because Congress, remember, it's not Trump so much, it's Congress. Congress is in charge of the spending, not the president. It's important for you to know that.
It's important for you to know that.
America.
I can't help but laugh. I can't help but laugh to hear Bill O'Reilly say it's important for you to know that. Why is it important for people to know that? Because I can't tell you how many times I have watched a video of people on the left and they're like, President Trump is stealing America's money. And I'm like, the president is not in charge of how the money is spent. But this is just, this is, you know, shout out to Bill. This is when I arrive on the TDS channels that I tend to see things like that. Because they're like, President Trump is stealing all the money. And I'm like, where's it going? It's going to the ballroom. I'm like, I have a hard time believing all the money's going to the ballroom. That's a bit overzealous, but okay, let's keep watching.
Homeowners, the FBI has been warning all of us. The
answer is
a psycho below. That's HomeTitleBlock.com, promo code Bill. So joining us now from Beverly Hills, California is Dr. Fran Walfish. She is a psychotherapist. And I don't know if you're seeing a lot of customers or clients, as you call them, come in crazed about politics, but that's the question. If you don't want to pay attention, if you won't pay attention, are you a bad citizen?
The answer is not necessarily. All of us are born with a different constitution genetically, and we all have different experiences, both with our parents and in the environment. Each person can tolerate a different amount of anxiety level. And if you are weaker and perhaps more fragile. You're not a bad person. Stronger people are perhaps meant to have stronger shoulders for the weaker ones to be carried upon. So I don't think, we're a generation of shoulds, and I don't think it's fair to expect people who are weaker, who may, if they take more on, sink into a sad state, depressive state, anxious state, perhaps obsessive compulsive state where they're more upsetting to us than they are to themselves.
All right, so I get it. They might fall apart and do damage to others and themselves because they can't handle the pressure of all the bad news and complicated things. But that still doesn't justify, and I'm being judgmental here, I know that shocks you, Doctor.
No.
It still doesn't justify walking away from your country. I mean, we all have an obligation here to keep our country safe, honest, and a place where benefit is given to those who live here. And
I agree.
Yeah, to me, if I got some namby-pamby who's, I can't pay attention. Number one, I don't respect that, and I should, and that's my fault. I'm going to have to come see you about it. That's my fault, because I'm right away, I'm going, But if you really look at it, okay, every citizen has an obligation to make the country better. And if we didn't have the courage we had in World War II and the Civil War, if we didn't have that mass courage, because it was the greatest generation, my parents, we would have lost it all. Am I wrong?
I hear you. You make a very good point, and I want to ease your self-judgment by saying you're not as judgmental as some of your colleagues because you invited me on. And you're giving some space for some people to walk away, which is great.
Yeah.
Let me say.
And that's what I would say. Like, that's part of the reason. And I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, Q, she doesn't count. She's older than all of us. I don't care. Okay? Like, Milo Music said, looking ragged, Bill. Come on, man. The guy's aging, man. It's Grandpa Bill. But here's the thing. Like she said, you are more fair than most of your counterparts. This is why I give this to Bill. Do you guys know that this guy regularly does a town hall with Stephen A. Smith and Chris Cuomo? Like, so right now, nowadays, Stephen A. Smith will say that he's pretty independent, right? He wants to tell us he's moderate. I want to say moderate left, but that's what Stephen A. says nowadays, right? I don't hate his position, him running for president. I don't think I'm okay with that. But we know Chris Cuomo is liberal. We know this guy is as liberal as they come. And I watch Chris Cuomo often, right? I've even covered some things about him on the channel. But Bill leaves space for these people. This is what I can appreciate, the conversation. This is what I can appreciate. This is why I love you guys in my channel or my chat, because you guys go at it with each other in the chat, but still super respectful, sharing your opinion. It doesn't bother me, right? It's all about the conversation. And Bill O'Reilly is willing to sit down with people that don't think like him and have at least a conversation, right? Which to me, that makes me feel like he's intelligent, right? If you can't have a conversation with someone that doesn't agree with you, I'm not mad at you. I just know you have a low IQ, right? It's probably not your fault. Maybe you didn't read many books. I don't know. But either way, if you can't have a conversation, a civil conversation with someone that just doesn't agree with you, and as two adults just agree to disagree, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
That we all have an obligation for civic responsibility. So we cannot totally walk away, but where are the obligations and duties? Everybody should vote. There is an obligation. So we should all exert our right to vote and obey laws and treat each other respectfully and kindly. So what does that mean? I think we all have the right to have differences of opinions, The same is true in relationships. You know, in the olden days when I was coming up and dating, in dating space, there was a lot of difference in area of religion. Today, it's politics. It's a deal breaker. Guys and gals will not go out with you.
Yeah, I know.
If you
Particularly in California,
don't
those
agree.
places that are loaded with ideology, not so much in the middle America. I just wrote a book called Confronting Evil. And the theme of the book.
It's crazy what this lady says. It's crazy what this lady says because what she says, nowadays guys and girls won't date each other if they don't agree on politics. Do we remember when the election ended and Trump won? It was crazy, some of the things that were going around online. Like, you had women saying things like they were not talking to their boyfriend, they were not sleeping with their husband, they were not talking to any men that voted for Trump. And I was like, what is happening right now? And all in the name of politics. I've heard stories about husband and wives not talking because they voted differently and separately. And I'm like, dude, what does that matter? Like, you vote how you want to vote, right? Like, I think that's crazy. If a married couple, speaking as a married person, if my wife is literally like, I'm sleeping on the couch because you voted this way, I'm like, oh, really? That's what we're doing now. That was insane to me, some of the things I was hearing. But we literally saw them going viral on social media.
Is that all these heinous people, and the mullahs in Iran are included in the book, and Ayatollah's on the cover, okay, they have to be constrained. And if not enough people will volunteer, sign up to constrain them, then they'll run wild. And that's what we're seeing in this world now with NATO, and I don't want to draw you into micro-politics too much, but they're just standing back. Let America do it, or whatever it may be. And therefore, evil has a tremendous advantage.
I'm the founder of Mudwater, and a lot of people ask me, what is the difference between Mudwater and all these mushroom coffees out there?
World, no?
You're right. And there's a tremendous amount of fear among people. You know,
is it fear or selfishness?
Well, there's both. I think there is, we raised a generation of very, very self-serving, sorry to say narcissistic kids that are now in their 20s and 30s. And they're used to cell phones and computers and immediate gratification. So there is a certain amount of self-serving selfishness, but I think there is fear. And
fear of what? What would be the fear? That they're not going to get a date with Sally, who's a progressive or a right-wing person?
No, there are a lot of Jewish people in America that are afraid to stand up. They're afraid of being hurt, afraid of their businesses, losing business, because people have lost a lot of business. They're afraid of safety for their family.
Everything that she's naming, they're all humane concerns, right? Like, and I was just about to say that. I was gonna say, they're afraid to be themselves. They're afraid to say their beliefs. Like, she's particularly speaking about Jewish people, but of course, then they might be afraid to identify. They might be afraid to express any type of religious tradition around people because of fear of retaliation. So I knew she was just gonna name off a couple of humane concerns when Bill O'Reilly was like, what are they afraid of? What was something they would be afraid of?
Many Jews, like we're talking about, who are not afraid to stand up and protest and, go like with what occurred at UCLA and so many college campuses. But there are many people hiding, like what occurred in the Holocaust. And it's very sad, but there are people afraid. And it is, I'm happy to see our president standing up for Jewish people and protecting them, because so many people are even afraid to say, I am behind Trump. They're afraid to say that out.
That'll get you fewer dates in San Francisco.
In
Final question.
Beverly Hills too.
But my philosophy is easy. If you're that simple-minded or narrow-minded, I don't want to deal with you anyway. You know, if you're going to reject a human being based upon who they vote for,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, I mean, you're doing me a favor by not being around. But that's me again. Last question for you. You must see a lot of people in your practice who come in, and you use the word at the beginning of the interview, with this tremendous anxiety, all right? Because nobody can tell the future, and now we're paying more money for everything, and people are having a hard time paying their bills, and they got kids they got to put through college, and it goes runs a gamut. Is there anything that you, as a counselor to these people, is there any relief that you can bring them at this moment in history when we're a divided country?
Well, number one, the anxiety that I saw was at its peak during voting, during the election time. It seems to have leveled out now that the reality is here. And I'm, of course, in a more affluent neighborhood area, so people are not as hit as hard with the financial burdens of what people are dealing with in the Midwest and in underprivileged areas where they are suffering. So the answer is, of course, cutting back is, there are a lot of people that can't cut back anymore, and that's very difficult. But being active, taking action is extremely helpful. And the other thing that's very helpful to people is self-care. So, active exercise, breathing exercises, healthy eating, good sleep hygiene, going to sleep at the same time each night, waking up in the morning, talking to your kids, talking with your partner. Talking expels anxiety and causes a reduction in anxiety.
So in other words, you're creating normalcy, and the normalcy brings down the apprehension.
Exactly. And the definition of anxiety is basically fear. It's higher levels of fear.
And everybody's got it.
We all do. We all do.
We don't want to lose rehab, and on and on and on. Hey, Doctor, very good discussion. We really appreciate you taking the time. If you ever return a favor, you let us know. Thank you.
Dude, Bill's face during some of this stuff she was saying, I'm like, God, you could just tell in this generation how he feels about therapy. Remember, this is a psychologist who's talking to her. And he's just kind of like, that's why he's like, afraid of what? You know, like, in fear of what? And nonetheless, like, you bring this down, and it's just like he has such a nonchalant attitude towards it. And I had to point it out because I see it so much when I talk to the older generation about therapy. It just cracks me up because I'm like, listen, I get it. You guys made it through a lot. So I know a lot of the older generation, right? Boomers, silent generation, maybe some older Gen X. You know, they're like, what the hell is wrong with millennials and Gen Z? Like, are these guys insane? And I mean, you know, somewhat, like, all of those electronics, like, they kind of rewire your brain. My generation didn't have it as much as Gen Z, but I mean, like, yeah, somewhat. You know, I can see where I look at things the older generations did, like the greatest generation, the great generation, the silent generation. And I'm like, oh man, even the boomers, and I think about, you know, these last 2 or 3 generations, and I'm like, dude, we are cooked.
Did you know that half of all adults...
Total Battle. Play now for free. It takes 90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster, cools any room in 90 seconds, and uses just a fraction of the energy.
Pharmacy.com. Pharmacy.com. We're a big fan. Begin tomorrow. Pharmacy.com/bit tomorrow. So I switch it over to tonight at 8 p.m. News Nation. Now, I got some letters about Cuomo's shift changing, his point of view changing politically, and it has. He's become a more skeptical of President Trump, and he was never a big fan to begin with. But in the beginning, it was. Now, it's more intense. So it's going to be an interesting discussion tonight. But here's the advantage that Cuomo has. See, I'm not in business to bolster the Trump administration. That's not what I do. What I'm in business to do is debunk untrue things said about President Trump or any other president. So there have been a slew of them if you read my column. I mean, this Reuters outfit is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous what they're putting out there. And I make the case, and nobody's challenged it. So tonight, I know that Mr. Cuomo is going to launch on Trump. But I'm going to state facts. And that's going to be a very interesting debate. Okay? So I'm not going to say that Cuomo's a partisan. He's not MS and those people and CNN. He's not there. But he doesn't like the way Trump is running the show. But I'm going to provide information that's unassailable. That is happening tonight. News Nation, 8 p.m. We hope you will check it out. And thank you very much for watching and listening to the No Spin News.
All right. Shout out to Bill O'Reilly. Shout out to Mr. Bill O'Reilly. So, next clip we jumping into. Nick Fuentes, channel favorite. Why? Because I watch him over here often on the channel, even though I feel like most of the times he has lost his SHIT. But he is a younger man. Most of you guys are pretty familiar with who Nick is because I react to him often on the channel. But he's mad again, right? Which is nothing new. Nick, you got to stop this madness online. But he's mad again, and he's having a temper tantrum about J.D. Vance and Tucker Carlson. So he doesn't like some of the things that are being said. He doesn't like these guys in general. I mean, Nick has going on rants about especially J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel on levels that I am like, he hates this guy. So let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Want to get this damage machine for free? Use the code Nemesis to claim the epic Akemto.
Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. A time.
West Side. My mom grew up in Melrose Park. I'm a real American. I don't know who you are. I didn't take a gap year in Nicaragua with the Contras. I didn't accompany my dad to Pakistan. I don't trust Vance. I don't trust Tucker. These people are liars. Tucker is a liar. Vance is a liar. Nobody even knows what they actually believe. Tucker says in the same interview, he said, I never criticized Israel in my entire career until 2 years ago. We don't even know who you are. We have no idea who you really are, what you really believe, who you really work for. I don't even know what the you are. I don't know who Vance is. Who is J.D. Vance? 10 years ago, he voted for Evan McMullin, a CIA agent. 15 years ago, he was mentored by David Frum, a neocon speechwriter for George W. Bush. 10 years ago, he wrote an article dedicated to Barack Obama about how smart he was, and white people hate him because they're jealous that he's smarter than they are. He wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy about how he married an Indian immigrant as a dude to his loser family that couldn't get out of their own way. Hillbilly Elegy is about how white people are blaming everybody else for their problems. They need to get to work and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Stop blaming international trade and mass migration. Now J.D. Vance is going to be the standard bearer of America First. Now he's going to be the leader of the movement, and the Groypers are going to fall in line behind him. Tucker's dad ran Voice of America for the CIA. Tucker and his gap years in Nicaragua fighting with...
So in case any of you are watching and you're not familiar with who Nick Fuentes is, and you're wondering, who the hell are Groypers? Those are his followers, right? That name sounds disgusting. And why he came up with it, I don't know. I never cared to know because I always thought it was stupid. But I'll look it up for you guys if I actually want to do it. I really don't care.
The Contras after the Iran-Contras affair. We're not supposed to talk about that. That's attacking his family. You want to talk about elites being out of touch, youth unemployment? You tell us you don't know why your Nepo baby son works for Vance? I mean, are you kidding me? We don't even know who these people are. They are liars. They insult our intelligence daily. And it works because most people are pretty dumb. But I don't trust them. I don't trust Tucker. I don't trust Vance. I don't trust Peter Thiel. These people are weird. These people are not like me.
I don't think well, first of all, I don't think Nick's not weird, but besides that fact, when he says that he doesn't trust these people, it makes sense why. Like, he's done so much research on all of them. Sometimes I think he's just borderline paranoid. I mean, some of it's convincing. I'm not gonna lie. I watched a lot of stuff he's put out there about Vance. A lot of stuff he's put out there about Peter Thiel. Sometimes I'm like, how does he know all of this? But yeah, like I mean, the reason why he's telling us not to trust him, Nick has done, I can give him this credit, even though I do not agree with him on a lot of the things that he says. But he has done his due diligence, and he knows a lot about J.D. Vance. He knows a lot about Peter Thiel, and the way that he sells those guys and he talks about them, it definitely has made me think about retracting my vote for J.D. I could honestly say that, because sometimes I'm like, okay, J.D., what in the hell is actually going on here?
I am from Chicago. Who's this kid from Chicago? Yeah, I'm from Chicago. Okay, my grandparents were on Taylor Street. My dad grew up on the West Side. My mom grew up in Melrose Park. I'm a real American. I don't know who you are. I didn't take a gap year in Nicaragua with the Contras. I didn't accompany my dad to Pakistan. Okay? I didn't work for the Weekly Standard. I didn't work for Fox News for 20 years before I woke up and realized there's something going on with Israel one day. I don't have any contracts with the CIA. I'm not obsessed with the Antichrist like these other people. Okay? I don't know what any of that is about. These people are not like me. These people are not like me. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're about. And by the way, I never got a contract. I never got a jersey. These people want me and the Groypers to be on the team. Why won't all of you just join up with Vance? Don't you realize blah, blah, blah? Hey, listen, pal. I'm not being paid. I never signed a contract. I'm not wearing a jersey. You want to let me in on the master plan? I got people all the time telling me, Vance is actually great. You just got to give him a chance. Well, you know what? If there's some master plan, nobody told me. I didn't get invited to Skull Island and get the blueprint. I didn't get the schematics on how Vance is going to deliver everybody. I didn't get let in on this story. So they're always telling me, Vance is our guy. You just got to trust it. You got to get behind him. You're really becoming a problem for us. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not wearing a jersey, and none of these people are ever nice to me, and they never help me, and I'm not a part of that. So why do you think I'm on the team? What do I owe you?
Yeah, like, we don't owe him anything. Like, J.D. Vance should start to work in favor of us instead of we have to work in favor of him. Like, he may think that he's, like, entitled to your vote, entitled to your support. And what team is he even talking about? Like, the team of completely destroying the United States of America? And what master plan? Like, seriously, who are these people who really still believe that, like, J.D. Vance is gonna be your guy, that he is actually gonna make America great again? This guy is a clown. Like, I don't even trust him.
Yeah, so see, that's what I mean. Shout out to Purge Viral, a channel favorite. He's not the only one that feels like that. There's people who've been reading JD lately that are literally like, there's no way we could vote for this guy. That's why I said, where did the JD Vance hate come from and the Marco momentum come from? There's people that are like Nick that have put a lot of stuff out there about JD Vance. things that when he was first running, some I knew, some I was very unaware of, and some that I was unaware of is pretty troubling, right? So can I sit here and say that my mind has never been changed? No, I wouldn't be being honest about that. Some of the stuff that some people have said, I'm like, well, this is concerning, to say the least.
He changed his name multiple times. He wears eyeliner. He's a puppet of...
They say he wears eyeliner.
Yeah.
Don't sell your house without getting bonus cash. I can buy your house fast and can pay your next month's mortgage or cover your moving costs. My team buys homes exactly as they are. Any condition, any situation.
Out of my head. Oh, I don't.
Time for action, JD.
That's kind of crazy. Does JD actually wear eyeliner, or was that AI? That's Purge literally just said it too. He's like, he wears eyeliner. He's pissed off he wears eyeliner.
He plans.
Now.
JD plans.
So anyway, it's getting really, really weird. And I will tell you this much. I trust me. I trust you. I only trust people younger than me because they're not feds. And I will say this. Everybody in this administration, Trump, Vance, Rubio, Hegseth, I don't want one of them. Fuck anybody that worked for Fox News ever. Oh, well, he hasn't worked for Fox News in 3 years. F him. You worked for Rupert Murdoch for 10 years. Rupert Murdoch was paying you $20 million a year for 10 years. Fuck you. I don't trust you. Get out of my head. Oh, you're against Israel now? Oh, great. Just when we needed it. Only after everybody on earth was red-pilled. Only after everybody and literally their grandfather was red-pilled by Instagram Reels. Oh, now Tucker's against Israel. Thanks a lot. Only after we all got red-pilled. So I don't trust you. And here's my message. It's the same message as before. 2026... vote down. I'm a Democrat now. I'm a moderate Democrat in 2026. I don't know about 28. For 2026, I am a non-woke Democrat. Hi, my name's Nick Fuentes. I'm an Afro-Latino, non-woke Democrat. I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border.
What the? This guy just called himself an Afro-Latino. See, Nick is being a troll right now. He's being a troll right now. Since I've never heard him say anything of this sort. Like, what is happening right now? Okay, whatever. But this is why he's saying this. He's never wants to actually support this, but he's this mad at Trump and JD Vance. Like, he hates them this much right now that he said, as of right now, he's telling everyone in 2028 to vote Democrat.
I'm a non-woke, moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed. I think the corrupt criminal government of Trump needs to be slowed down. We need to impeach the orange. It's time to put this in a peach. Trump needs to be placed inside of a crystal. He needs to be impeached. This fat orange, tiny hands needs to be impeached. And then in 28, no Vance, no Rubio. We have to burn down the whole party. We need to elect a dark horse who's going to put America first. I'm not listening to anybody else. No Vance, no Rubio, America first. And that is all that matters anymore. That is the only thing that matters. Not voting for a Democrat unless it's like me. unless it's a Nick Fuentes Democrat. Unless a Nick Fuentes Democrat wins the nomination, I won't vote for a Democrat. I'm never Vance. I'm never Rubio. I'm an America First guy. So Tucker and all the rest of them, they're going to try to shut me down. They're going to try to get Vance in there in 28, and you got to wisen up and realize we got to take our own side here. None of this nonsense. It disgusts me. It's like you're not even talking to a human being. This guy is like an alien life form. Who even is this person? Who does that? We eat dinner. He invites me out. First of all, so manipulative. The guy is just like, this guy is a f***ing cop. Me and Tucker have this feud for years. I do this big show exposing him. He calls me on the phone and he's like, sorry, I got so mad at you. Yeah, my dad is in the CIA. I didn't know. I just got the paperwork after he died and I'm just really upset about it. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, yeah, like you want to talk about how you tried to ruin my life with the Joe Kent thing? And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, okay. Then he invites me on the show. We go to dinner. He's very friendly. We have dinner for like 4 hours. He's nothing but friendly, nothing but nice. But he's also like grilling me about stuff. we do the show. You saw the show. It was very friendly. He didn't press me at all. He texted me after the show, hey, man, really enjoyed that. So interesting. I'm really glad we did it, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes and his motherfucker me every day since, going on every interview saying, I invited him on my show so that he could run his mouth and expose himself. What a bad person he is because he hates women and he's an anti-Semite. And I tried to do an intervention. I tried to tell him that anti-Semitism was wrong, but it didn't work. I regret the interview. He's a distraction. I fell for... It's like, no, bro, you tried to knock me off. You failed. Clearly, you're a manipulative liar. Clearly, everything you say is a lie, and you're a manipulative liar. That phone call was a little trick. The interview was a little trick. You clearly were trying to knock me off. It didn't work. It hurt you, and it helped me. Now you're upset about that because it's hurting your boy Vance. Now you want to come out and say, oh, I regret it. I should have never done it. He's just a big distraction. This is politics, guys. That's how politics works. But I guess the takeaway here about that aspect of it is this. People are always telling me, hey, come on, man, Tucker's a good guy. Hey, come on, man, you and Tucker agree on everything. Hey, come on, Tucker said some base things last week. Here's what you need to understand. These people in politics are not like us. They're not real people. They all have an agenda. Okay? So when people look at these influencers and they say, hey, come on, he's like a good dude or something, it's like, dude, he's a performer. That's like watching The Office and saying, Dwight's a really nice guy. It's like, dude, that's an actor. That is an actor with a real name and a real address playing a role and reading a script on TV. It's the same thing with Tucker. And so you need to understand, these are not relationships of affinity. Me and Tucker are not going to be buddies because we like each other, because I like the cut of his jib. We get along and we're there for each other. It ain't like that, okay?
It ain't like that.
And at the best, it's a competitive media market.
You guys heard that, right? You guys heard that, right? Nick, don't be speaking no Ebonics. You heard him say that, right? It ain't like that.
Market, and it's capitalistic and we're competing for the same audience. At the worst, we are in some kind of spy game. He is involved with the intelligence apparatus. I represent a threat to some kind of weird power thing going on there, and he is trying to neutralize me.
Yeah, okay, but even if that's the case, I really believe it's just a waste of time, a waste of energy to constantly fight each other. Why would you do that? And maybe it's just better to start what do we have in common? What do you and Tucker have in common? Instead of always looking at what are the differences between us? Because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to defend Tucker at all, because I can understand where Nick is coming from. I also didn't like Tucker. I also never trusted this man. His dad was working for the CIA. He was supporting Trump, even until 1 month ago. I also thought this guy was super fake. But I have to be honest, now he's becoming more based day after day. I start to like the things what he is saying now, because, for example, he's also speaking out about this war. He's opposing this war. He's now finally also criticizing Trump since 1 week. So he's doing some good things also about the Epstein files. So that's actually good. And I really believe it's just, if you're gonna fight each other already, you will never ever win this war, this battle to make America great again, because you can say whatever you want about Nick and Tucker, but I really believe that both of them, they just want the best for the United States of America, right? So it's such a waste to fight each other already. Then you never ever are really gonna make America great again, in my opinion.
Everything he says to me, he's not looking to be my buddy. He's not looking out for me. He's not trying to be my mentor. He doesn't care about my well-being. It's not about affinity, whether we like each other, whether we're going to, bump each other on the elbow and say, hey, come on, pal, let's get a drink. How about it? It ain't like that. It ain't like that. But people think it is like that. Why don't my favorite E-celebrities get along? It isn't like that.
The Domino's Mix and Match menu gets you all of this for just $6.99 each.
So you need to understand that we are in a war. We are in a war with forces we barely understand. Okay? You see where I come from. You've seen my addresses, okay? Google it. You've seen my address. You see where I live. You see where I grew up, my high school. You know what I'm about. You know I came from the same station as most of you. If anything, you guys are better off than I was. And you need to recognize that we are in this together. We are a team. We are a force. united, let's say, to borrow a phrase from a disastrous conference, we are united against these forces that, like I said, we don't even understand. Buckley's dad is Tucker. Tucker's dad is Dick Carlson. Dick Carlson's parents are whatever. Like, it's generational. These people have been in power for generations. They know how it works. You think Tucker's dad never told him and his brother how the CIA works? Did your dad tell you how the CIA works? Did your dad tell you about his work at the Institute for Strategic Defense or whatever? No. These people have been in politics for generations, and they pass the knowledge down and they help each other out. They are on a different team. So they know and we don't. They participate and we're not participating.
And you know what Nick is talking about here, he's not lying about too. It's like if you do research on some of the, especially the Democratic side of the presidents, a lot of them are related. Second, third, fourth cousins, right? Like Sarah Palin and Obama. Like, it's crazy. People you wouldn't even think. Like, this is very true what he's saying about how this ends up being generational and passed down and they end up helping each other. And yeah, this is why till this day I feel like, even though I feel like Nick can be crazy as hell, he still said one of the best metaphors about Democrats and Republicans when it comes to how they are with Americans. And he says, you know what? They're like a couple that's going through divorce. And in the public, you see them arguing. They're going back and forth with each other. They're trying to rip each other's heads off. And then, after, everything's said and done, they go down the street, they go to a bar, and they have a drink. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's exactly what happens while the American people are left like, what just happened?
Participants. So you need to get that through your head that, like, we really and truly are a team animated against this cabal, this clique that, you can try to discern it, but it's going to take us a long time to really understand it because all we have is what we can read on the internet. They're in it and they've been in it and they have those relationships for generations. We're on Twitter. It's asymmetrical. We're at a disadvantage. Recognize that. You don't have to be smarter than them. You just have to be smart enough to know that they know more than you. You understand the difference? We don't have to necessarily be smarter than Tucker. We don't need to know everything Tucker knows. But we do need to recognize there's an asymmetry. And that needs to come with it some skepticism. Wait a second. I'm only getting the open source information on Twitter. All your friends are in the CIA. I don't trust you. You know things I don't know. Why are you talking to me? You're manipulating me. That's the kind of mindset you need. Why is Tucker always on his show saying, and I know that for a fact. I have sources that Netanyahu said this, and I know that. It's like, how do you know that? We don't know that. What, are we going to take your word for that? We're on Twitter. All your Joe Cannon, Vance, and Peter Thiel, they're all in the CIA. So what is that? So anyway, that's the interview. Those are my thoughts on the whole thing. Like I said, this is very important stuff because this is how we are going to get along in politics. This is the mode, but it's also the substance of it too. It's the mode of how we're going to get along and make our political change, but it's also the substance of what the political change is. And it is having to do with the issue, race. Like, obviously these things are salient, and you have a very powerful arm trying to tell us, no, it's all about economic opportunity. The last thing I'll say about it is this, then we'll take a look at the super chats. You remember when Tucker had on Nayland Haley on his show? Nikki Haley's son? And what did Nayland Haley say on the show? He said the same thing. He said, it's all about economics. It's all economic issues, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And then the Free Press, Barry Weiss's paper, did a profile on Nayland Haley saying that he is, what word did they use to describe him? They said that he is a, they had some word in there about it. It was like he's the standard bearer or something like that. Something to that effect. Like he's the leader of the young people. People are looking up to him. It's like, what people? We're Nayland Haley's fans. He doesn't have a show. He doesn't make content. What are you talking about? The Free Press, owned by Barry Weiss, funded by Peter Thiel and Andreessen Horowitz and Joe Lonsdale, they did a whole profile on how Nayland Haley is going to be the figure for Gen Z, who was interviewed by Tucker after me talking about how it's all economics. once you see it, you're just like Neo in the Matrix. You just dodge all the bullets. You see all the agents. You bend the spoon. Some people want to eat their holographic meatloaf. They want to eat their holographic steak. It still tastes like steak. I want to check out. But that's, once you see it, you can't unsee what is happening here. So...
Yeah, but this is just how politics works, sadly, because I also don't like this, but we have to live with this, and for this reason, I really believe you need to use some of these people. If you really want to, like, achieve your goals, for example, like Nick Fuentes, you really believe that you can make America great again, I think it's better to work together with these powerful people, because it is true. I agree with what Nick just said. It's almost, like, impossible for, like, a normal guy like you, like me, or anyone who is watching this, or like Nick Fuentes, to achieve these kind of levels, because many of these people, yeah, they are already like born with power, or they became so disgustingly rich that almost no one can compete with them. They can buy power for themselves. Or you have like these nepo babies, like for example like Haley's son, or like Tucker Carlson's son. Yeah, they are already like born in a very high position, so for them it's very easy, and they can just say whatever they want. Like they will always have like a platform. But for normal people, that's almost impossible. For this reason, I really think it's like smarter for Nick Fuentes to, for example, like work together with Tucker Carlson in like some way, because if you want to achieve your goals, and I guess the goal for Nick is like,
I guess we'll never know how that transpired. I watched Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes' interview. I actually got a chance to see it live. It was they were live streaming it while I was at work, and I actually got a chance to listen to it. I actually thought when they walked away from that interview that they were going to walk away as friends. I mean, that at least that was the feel the interview was giving me. At least that was the feel Nick was giving the audience about the time they spent together prior to the podcast starting. So I'm not even sure. Like, I was literally, I thought that they would walk away as friends. But then all of a sudden, Nick started saying that Tucker was saying all of this adverse stuff about him. You know, things that he didn't even say, and things that, you know, Tucker didn't say during the interview. And I don't know, it just all kind of went left afterwards. So for me, as the outsider looking in, I'm thinking to myself, so did Tucker do that for views? Because just being honest, Nick just, you know, like Diesel said in the chat, Nick has money, bro. He's not like us. But at one point in time, Nick was blacklisted from almost everything. And he talks about that openly, right? About how his MAGA views in 2016 really got him in a pickle, for less better terms that I can think of right now. So it's like he said, it got him into a situation where Trump didn't save him. No one on the Republican side saved him. No conservatives came to his rescue. And it was at that moment where he decided, yeah, I'm not going to bat for this guy anymore. Like, I'm not. And this is why he's vehemently against it. This is why he's so against it that publicly he's like, right now in 2026, I'm a Democrat. I mean, we know that Nick doesn't lean that way, but nonetheless, this is what has come of it after him having all these bad encounters with, I can't just say the Republican side, mainly Trump's administration, but yeah, there are some things he's picking up on the Republican side. That's why he's saying we just need to dismantle the GOP. I'm like, that's drastic, Nick. That's overzealous. Come on, we're not dismantling the GOP.
To make America great again.
Because I'll tell you right now, Nick could do that if he wants. We cannot dismantle the GOP. There's no way I would vote Democrat every single election. Oh, hell to the no.
To like give us like a better United States of America than with this clown Trump administration. I mean, that's not so hard. I think like my dog could almost do that, but you get the point. If you really want to like make this country succeed, start working together with the people who are in power. Because I agree, we can all criticize them. I made multiple videos already as well, like criticizing all these elite kind of figures, all these billionaires who give like a lot of money to like this administration, for example, to buy power for themselves. I also don't like this. I hate this. But that's just a game. So we have to play their games as well, right? So if you really want to make a change, start to like work together with these people, because then you can also like influence like the real.
I think we've been live for about an hour and a half, so yeah, we'll save the Iran stuff for tomorrow because there's a lot to cover on that too. Okay, we're going to get set up. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. Let me get my earbuds in here, and we'll take a look. All right. Let's see what we got here.
And keep SQD grow by percent $20. Just get a Tesla and have it self-drive everywhere. Maybe Elon will let you have a check mark too. Rolling on the floor laughing.
You know, I'm thinking about doing that actually. I'm actually considering that. I'm gonna.
Soros is the Antichrist sent $25. Just an idea I had. But you should wear the meta camera glasses during show. That way we can get the first-person view.
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. So it's a great first-person view from my perspective doing the show.
11 sent $20. Here's the rest of what little money I have left. Nick.
Wow, thank you. I'll put it to good use. Thank you very much.
Lily sent $50. Didn't watch Friday DW layoff EP Live. Watched replay and it's so excellent must send an after hours super chat. Smiley face emoji. Love when you speak about how it works. These shows are your best work, IMO.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because that's the stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. I mean, nobody else is even paying attention. Even like this interview, is anyone even really paying attention? Seriously. It's like Tucker could not make it more clear if he were screaming it in your ears. It could not be more obvious if he was grabbing your head by both of your ears and screaming into your face like, I'm a Fed. The whole article, it's all about economics, race is a distraction, it's all about economic opportunities, it's those boomers. No one's talking about Nick Fuentes is a distraction. He's taking away from the issues that matter. No one's ever talking about taxes. Talking about power is easy and comfortable and everyone wants to go there. No one will talk about the tax rate, the prevailing tax rate on labor. It's like it's so blatant, but it just goes right over people's head because they don't know what to look for, so they think it sounds.
You can tell when he's having a breakdown, dude. He just starts rambling. This is hilarious. Like, shout out to Secular Talk, Kyle Kalinske. Like, Kyle is another main reason why I watch Nick Fuentes so much. So, Purge Viral is more on the conservative side of things. I would say closer to like myself. Kyle Kalinske is more on the left. But I think Kyle's pretty moderate. Like, I think he has common sense. That's what I can appreciate him. Shout out to Secular Talk. Go check it out. But when Kyle like reacts to Nick, and I usually like have Kyle's reactions on the channel, I'm just dying, because Kyle's like, Nick's having a temper tantrum again, and that's exactly how I feel watching him. That's why watching him doesn't offend me. He's so much younger than me that I just watch him and I just crack up when he does this. All right, so there is something funny that I want to get to. So apparently there's this video of Marco Rubio. I don't know if he's I don't think he's in the Oval Office in a Nike tech suit. I'm really hoping this is AI. Let's see what they're talking about here.
To the live tracker, where is Air Force? Earlier today,
Okay, shout out to Benny Johnson. All right, shout out to Benny Johnson, a channel favorite. So apparently, there's a picture of Marco Rubio in a Nike tech suit. It looks like he's in the Oval Office, but I don't think he would be like that, but maybe he was. And it looks like they're saying that he basically is a whole real-life meme of when Maduro was captured. This is hilarious to me. Let's take a listen.
Earlier today, an absolutely magisterial Flying Fortress Air Force One took off, departing for Beijing, carrying half of the president's cabinet, including the Secretary of War, Secretary of State, and Elon Musk. Was kind of a member of the cabinet. He's like, we can just manifest that all over again. They're off for a 14-hour flight to China. Trump's schedule is jam-packed. It's going to be really exciting to watch, and you can watch it actually right now. You can see the live tracker of where is Air Force One at this very second. It's over Ontario. It's about to cross over Manitoba on its way to China. Let's see here. It's going to be a wild flight. It's going to be very interesting. Again, they'll land by the time we're up tomorrow in the morning, and I'm sure there'll be quite a bit of news. Quite a bit of newsmakers are on the flight. You can see here Eric and Laura Trump. They were waiting in the wings, along with Marco Rubio. All business. Marco in his Marco Rubio suit. New polling showing that Marco Rubio is the front runner to run for president of the United States and to win in 2028. Do you believe that? What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comment section. Air Force One is airborne from Andrews Air Force Base, and the nuclear football is coming along for the ride. You can see President Trump always traveling with his nukes straight to China. Going to be a very fun trip. And we predicted that there was going to be some memes on this trip, and there certainly have already been memes. Here's Trump flying over Iran on his way to China.
Okay, we have it in our sight. Fire, boom.
I just pray that that's what it looks like inside of Air Force One. I've never flown on Air Force One, so I just hope, please tell me that's what it looks like inside of Air Force One. That'd be great. The world, however, was gifted with an unbelievable meme come true. And I wasn't planning on this already started. I mean, I'm recording this at nearly 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I have just been stunned that a meme came to life already. I mean, they're only a couple hours into the trip. I mean, they haven't even left Canadian airspace, and the memes are already
Bro. Shout out to Benny Hinn for those. Shout out to Benny Hinn. Shout out to Benny Johnson. For those of you who don't know who Benny Johnson is, wrong Benny. Bro, that meme is diabolical. Why are they calling it the Nike Tech Venezuela? That's crazy work. Like, I know Nike's gonna go nuts over that.
Boeing, you may recall the Marco Rubio sitting on the couch meme, pissed off that he has a new job. His job is to be Nicolas Maduro in his Nike Air Max tracksuit, right? Nicolas Maduro aboard the USS Iwo Jima. We all remember this. Iconic. That tracksuit is iconic. I think American Special Forces put him in that. I'm not sure he was wearing that. Pretty cool stun of shades. Anyway, people were already making this meme of Marco Rubio saying it's funny to put him in the tracksuit. Well, guess what? This ain't AI. This is the real Marco Rubio wearing his tracksuit aboard Air Force.
That's great.
His Maduro tracksuit.
That's crazy as hell.
Good for you, bro. Let's check the caption here from White House Comms Director Stephen Chung. Rubio rocking the Nike Tech Venezuela on Air Force One. It is a message to the world. This is on its way to doing 1 million views, 1.6 thousand reposts, 13,000 likes, 800 comments on this is a message to China. As we've been saying, the entire position of the United States trip to China and everything that's been done in Iran and everything that's been done in Ukraine has been to show China who's actually boss of the world. And that's what President Trump is doing. Trump's not going to be pushed around by China any longer. And the memes are hitting. The reason why Marco is wearing this is they want to remind you that they black-bagged Maduro in the dark of night, threw him like a bag of grain into a Navy SEAL Delta Force helicopter, melted down all of the Chinese tech and weapons. By the way, there was a delegation from Beijing there watching it all happen. And so this is something that is a message to the rest of the world. The memes are unbelievable. Check this out. This from the White House, full circle.
No, now you know. And now you don't know, now you know.
Bro, that's crazy work. Benny's not going to be able to react to that the way that I can. Yo, that's crazy work. So they got Biggie in the background. So Marco Rubio's like, now you know. All right, so this is from when Maduro was captured, right? And then they got Biggie in the background. Biggie. I hear it in the background. Bro, I'm cooked over this. I can't believe that they put these two things together. This is insane.
And now you don't know, now you
And now you don't. This is the White House posting this, by the way. It's done hundreds of thousands of views. The memes are pouring out across the internet. Here's the entire team on Flex. Crazy. Again, Elon Musk there, JD Vance. The strength, though, of the Rubio meme content has surprised me, I gotta tell you. Senator Marco Rubio wearing the Maduro outfit on Air Force One. Who even knew we needed this? Plus the baby version of it. We'll take it. Wait till you see this, man. This this is just crazy. Donald Trump in the vault.
Are gone. Their leaders are gone. 2 sets of their leaders are gone. They're down to their 3rd set. Their Air Force is wiped out entirely. Think of it. They have 32 ships. All 32 are at the bottom of the ocean. Other than that, they're doing very well, Coach.
Yeah, that is so crazy.
The longer you look, the better it gets. Havana, Cuba. You know this is about to go down. You know it's about to go down. Oh man. Okay, let's go. Let's do some memes here. All right, here we go. Just a reminder that Marco Rubio is currently leading the presidential 2028 presidential primaries. Donald Trump is saying that we're going to take Venezuela over and just make it the 51st state. Okay. Is Marco going to be DJing for the flight? Here you go. That totally works, by the way. That looks great. Here we go. Close enough. You're officially an operator now, Marco Rubio. There you go. Got them all kitted out. There you go. Marco Rubio is been chilling all day with his burrito. Marco Rubio. That's pretty good. I didn't know Marco Rubio would be so memeable. King. People are Maduro maxing. The aesthetic. If you're going to do it, you got to go all the way. The aesthetic is here. Yeah, that's right. Miami Marco. You know, Rubio's wearing the Maduro tracksuit on his flight to Cuba. Ooh. Just a reminder that they really did have good game with it.
Aquí lo espera Miraflores. No hace tarde en llegar, cobarde. I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America.
Trump posted this, by the way.
Start your engine.
Lit them up, baby. Lit them up. I miss the old Maduro memes. Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro bunker defense against the United States. We send all of our Somalis to Venezuela. Well, then we definitely can't make it the 51st state. Okay, no games. No games. F-A-F-O. Come on, bring back this energy, baby. Bring it back. Run it back. We're here for it. Run it back. Who wants to see this next? The whole thing is a message to Xi Jinping. None of this is by accident. He didn't just come walking out wearing this. None of this is by accident. Again, this is a real photo. This is not AI. None of this is an accident. This is a message that we are in control. And that Marco Rubio, who President Trump actually just said would make a dream team, would be an absolute dream team. Donald Trump was saying that him and JD Vance, would be.
So we got a lot of beauties out there, JD.
The greatest presidential team maybe ever. What do you think about that? It was Trump the White House.
We got a lot of beauties out there, JD. I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have? Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket, JD. That was a perfect ticket.
It's a perfect ticket because the meme energy with both of them is insanely strong. Although I got to tell you, edge on Marco for this one, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a wild 2028. This is going to be a wild trip. Stay tuned in to this channel. We won't miss a beat. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.
Yeah, shout out to Benny Johnson. All right, so we got a couple of different clips first from Pete Hegseth being on trial today. But first, I wanted to go over to Brian Maxwell, where he covered Democrats destroy Karen Bass for quitting after embarrassing debate performance versus Spencer Pratt, right? So I have a hard time believing that the reason why Karen Bass dropped out is simply for bad debate performance. She had a lot of things going on, a lot of things that I would believe that will come down the pipeline eventually that wouldn't work out in her favor. But let's hear what they have to say.
If you sit down, push, and only a little poop comes out, you have what doctors call a poop cork. The Mayo
because nobody saw this coming. And here's what happened, okay? Because in this video, you're going to hear a bombshell audio that was leaked of Mayor of LA, Karen Bass, after the Palisades fire. And when you hear what this woman says, you'll understand why she dropped out of this race. You know it's bad when the mainstream media starts calling out, putting on Front Street the headline Democrats, you know, like the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of Boston, the mayor of LA. And that's exactly what CNN, the Communist News Network, man, they call her out. And also, you're going to hear about why this woman decided to drop out. She was so embarrassed after getting fact-checked by CBS News, and the polls were so terrible that she has pulled out of the debate. And keep this in mind now, she's the incumbent. She's the experienced politician. This man was a reality star 20 years ago, started doing a whole lot of great stuff in the community, organizing, built up his reputation. He's a Republican. He's a MAGA guy. But guess what, though? He hasn't leaned on Trump at all or even used the MAGA brand or Trump's name to be as competitive as he is in this campaign. In L.A., right now, on top of the fact that for governor, you got 2 Republicans that are in the top 3 spots for governor of California. So this is major coming out of there. So on this video, you're going to see, as a matter of fact, let me just let the story, let me let you see the story about her deciding to drop out of the race. And then right after this, look at how CNN flips the script on her. And then wait till you hear this bombshell audio that was leaked of Karen Bass. And I don't know how she can explain this away, but check this out.
This morning, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is dropping out of next week's televised Los Angeles Mayoral Forum. The event is organized by the League of Women Voters and the Pat Brown Institute for Public Affairs. Organizers have not revealed why Mayor Bass decided to drop out of the event. The forum will now only include the participation of Councilmember Nithya Raman, businessman Adam Miller, and community activist Ray Wong. New this morning.
So there's 2 more people participating in this one, Ray Wong, and you heard the other gentleman's name, the activist. And then you got Spencer Pratt and Rahman. Karen Bass, the current mayor, did so terrible and was beat so bad and was fact-checked so embarrassing because she said a whole lot of stuff up there on that debate stage. And Spencer Pratt called her out. And wait till you see the fact check. But this right here is CNN putting her on the hot street. And you know it's bad when CNN is putting their headline Democrats in the hot seat. Right. Check this out.
Another issue is your response to the deadly and devastating fires in January. Your challengers have accused you of mismanaging that response on a number of levels. Spencer Pratt personally blames you for his family losing their homes in those fires. Are you responsible for what happened there and the mismanagement that did occur in those fires and the response to them?
Let me just say that as the mayor of a city, the buck stops with me. That is very, very clear. What was true of our city, but not just our city, our region, our county, was that we were not prepared because let me just tell you, with climate change, we are experiencing climate events that Los Angeles is not prepared for.
Another issue.
Okay, so you heard that. Now, she asked her, hey, is it your fault? Oh, the book stops with me. And she immediately redirects it to some obscure crap about climate change. Now, this audio, which you're about to hear, is really there's no way with that statement before we get to the audio, the fact check. I want you to check out the fact check. Because remember, she was in that debate. She dropped out because she embarrassed herself and because of the fact check that came from the answers that she gave. They've been publicized. The polls had Spencer Pratt like 87% to Karen Bass, less than 20% of who they thought won. So you got the incumbent mayor to the upstart Republican, and she was saying all of these things when he was calling her out. And CBS fact checked her. And again, you know it's bad when the mainstream media is fact checking her own. Check this out.
LA's first mayoral debate got off to a heated start.
She's an incredible liar.
No name calling,
She's
please.
lied, though.
But a few exchanges caught my attention because they touched directly on a year of reporting I've been working on the LA fires, being published by Simon & Schuster next week. So let's fact check some of what was said, beginning with the wind.
The winds in the Pacific Palisades never reached higher than 40 miles per hour. For those first 6 hours, they didn't go above 27 miles per hour.
He talked about the winds. That is just completely inaccurate. If that were accurate, then the planes would have been able to fly.
Weather modeling reviewed for my reporting shows winds in the Palisades during those first several hours of the fire were in fact under 40 miles per hour. Planes could and did fly. The stronger winds intensified later in the evening, and that distinction matters because the earliest hours of a wildfire are often the most critical for containment. Second, Mayor Bass's trip to Ghana. She addressed this directly.
It was one of the worst moments of my life to not be here when my city needed me. And it didn't matter where I was or why I was away.
But according to multiple sources with direct knowledge of the emergency response, it did matter where the mayor was. My reporting found Mayor Bass knew about the dangerous weather before leaving for Ghana. Communications to emergency managers described her as only being, quote, out of state. And while she was overseas, her office continued posting on social media images and videos that appeared to place her in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Sources told me the lack of clarity created confusion during the opening hours of the fire. Fire Chief Kristen Crowley did not initially know the mayor was even in Ghana, and according to sources and records reviewed for the book, after Bass was briefed by the chief on the growing fire, she still attended a cocktail reception in Ghana and did not respond for more than an hour to messages from Los Angeles officials offering and asking for help during that critical stretch of the fire's expansion. This isn't about politics, it's reporting. And as the fire becomes a part of the mayoral race, voters are likely to learn a lot more about those first critical hours.
My local mayor wanted to sue me after he saw what I did with this new pressure washer. There's a new power wash nozzle out there, and it's the most brutal cleaning tool you'll ever own. But here's the bad news. In just a few weeks, regulators will force...
For a major network like NBC to come out on the mayor of LA, who's a Democrat, and allow him to post this, fact-checking her this bad, you know it's bad. They know this woman embarrassed herself. Now, if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid. Hit that like button. I appreciate you. If you aren't subscribed to the channel and you like content like this, subscribe to the channel. And once you do, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube can be really bad on the notifications, so make sure you select all so you get notified when I upload new videos. I promise you, I'll never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or for a donation. You hitting that like button and subscribing is more than enough. Appreciate it. So now, after that, all of that talking that we've heard, so she's dropping out. You see them hammering her about the fire. You saw the answers that she gave. They were posting like she was still in town, but the woman was overseas. Then took an hour to respond while at a freaking cocktail party where her city burned to the ground. Now, this right here has been leaked by a whistleblower's audio of the mayor, okay? And when you hear what she says, and I'll let it speak for itself. You listen and I'm going to ask a question as we go through it. Matter of fact, I'll ask it now. As you're going through this, if you get a chance, look at the computer screen. When you get to a point where you think you hear Mayor Karen Bass kind of insinuating something a little shady, see if you catch it. And then after the clip, I'll see if your catch matches where I caught it. Check this out.
And just in terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days. That's it. And if President Biden extends me an invitation, I took it. And hopefully you can read in between the lines. But I would just appreciate, and it's hard for me to tell you this, but hold tight. You will understand soon. The situation is very dangerous, and I would never do. I will take the criticism before I do a publicity stunt. And frankly, a press conference at this point in time would just be publicity.
I think the neighbors, the property owners, and the residents. I mean, 41,000 people live within a square mile here.
Yeah.
2 families share a 1-bedroom apartment.
But they want to hear that something is going to be done.
They want to know it's recognized. They want to know it's recognized.
Exactly, but if I have a choice between that and compromising something, I just have to go along with it.
So, in that first part of the clip, that was days before the actual fire. days before was she like, hey, yeah, I want to tell you, I can't really say much, you know what I mean? And all of this stuff, and you'll understand and you'll see what I mean. And where the man said, hey, people just want to hear that there's some reassurance that something's happening. And listen to how dismissive and how non-emotional this woman is when she got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have lost everything. And you would not be able to tell it listening to her voice. She's like a robot, a real Manchurian candidate. For real, a lot of them seem like that. Because how can you repeat this crap? How can you look at the carnage and be okay with that and not just lose your mind looking at the destruction of people, the homelessness, the drugs? How can that not drive a person crazy knowing that their decisions are perpetuating that?
It's not. Now, based on what Brian is saying, the easiest answer to that is money. We know that, right? Based on what Brian is saying. That's how the Democrats, some people are saying, how could the Democrats do what they've done for, the black community in this state, and then it doesn't matter, it's money. That's it, right? The love of money. That's what's driving them.
On my area of expertise, I want to make sure that you are safe. And hopefully you can read in between the lines. But I would just appreciate, and it's hard for me to tell you this, but hold tight. You will understand soon.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And when I am able to talk, I will be happy to go into great detail.
Okay. And you've got me on the street, and you're welcome to call me at any time. I'll call you right back.
No problem. And just in terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days. That's it. And if President Biden extends me an invitation, I took it.
So, what do you think about that? Now, I'll tell you, when she said that read between the lines, that was the very first catch for me. The other one was hold tight, you'll be able to see it. But that was so early in the conversation. Let's get into this article. On the heels of all of the stuff that's taking place in the country right now, seniors, it's extremely important that you make sure you've got the best Medicare plan. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is being blasted for backing out of an upcoming mayoral forum just days after she took a beating in the LA mayoral debate, with Spencer Pratt being declared the winner per an online poll. The League of Women Voters and the Pat Brown Institute for Public Affairs regret to announce that Mayor Karen Bass have withdrawn from the televised Los Angeles mayoral forum scheduled for May 13th on Fox 11. A statement posted on Instagram from organizers read, "The forum was organized to give Los Angeles voters the opportunity to hear directly from candidates seeking to lead the city through a period of extraordinary challenges. 5 candidates were invited and 4 candidates committed to participate. Mayor Bass, Councilmember Nithya Raman, businessman Adam Miller, and community advocate Ray Huang accepted the invitation and signed forms confirming their attendance." It added, noting that the former reality star turned LA mayor hopeful had declined, citing a conflict with his schedule. "We are disappointed that voters will be denied the opportunity to see the mayor side by side with her main opponents in a televised forum, just as voters are beginning to really pay attention to the race," Mike Bonin, who runs the Pat Brown Institute, told the Post in a statement.
Most grounding shoes have open holes in the bottom that soak your feet every time you walk outside, but grounded footwear shoes don't.
Bonin also said that when they started talking about the forum, they checked with various campaigners on their schedules, and the mayor's team says she would be available for a forum on May the 13th. Given that information, Bonin said they invited her leading challengers for an event on that day, noting that invites were sent out and the mayor confirmed her appearance on the 22nd of April. Included in the organizer's post was a picture of a document signed by the mayor on April 22nd confirming her attendance at the 2026 mayoral candidate forum on May 13th. On May 7th, Mayor Bass withdrew with her campaign consultant, indicating they had debated their 2 main opponents, who made clear they were not up for the job and they were done with debates, Bonin added. What? She's delusional. The mayor's campaign has defended dropping out of the forum. Mayor Bass will be in Sacramento that day fighting for fundraising for housing, homelessness, and Palisades fire recovery, and will also discuss the city and state partnership with the Olympics and the World Cup, campaign spokesman Alex Stack told Fox 11. Bonin said on the 8th, her team told reporters she would be in Sacramento, but at no point did the mayor's campaign indicate they had a conflict on the date that they chose and confirmed. And this is Looks like a post about it. The announcement also explained that the Women's Voter League and Institute have a long track record of co-sponsoring candidate forums that are fair, nonpartisan, substantive, and focused on issues that matter most to voters. We remain committed to providing voters with meaningful opportunities to engage with those seeking public office. That don't even look real, does it? At this point, the debate is still scheduled to be aired live at 6 p.m. on Fox 11 on Wednesday, May 13th, with candidates Miller, Wang, and Rahman, the outlet noted. So, but the fact that Spencer Pratt isn't going to be at this thing, that's going to just suck the attendance out. And Mayor Vance got obliterated so bad in the last debate, her campaign manager said, you can't go back out there, especially after the fact check video has been released by NBC. Can you imagine her opponents would eat her for breakfast, lunch?
That's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen with Karen Bass, because that is what she always gets herself into. She always gets herself in a fire with something she say, something she's doing, something she says, oh no, I wasn't involved. I can't tell you guys how many times I watched her say, oh no, I wasn't involved in that. I didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't know about this. And then next thing you know, some tape, some evidence, something comes out to where we're like, oh, what do you know? It's Mayor Karen Bass. So, you know, we'll keep watching it. We'll keep tracking this. Shout out to Brian Maxwell for the content. Shout out to you, boss. We appreciate it. But literally, just ridiculous with the way that, just absolutely ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I'm surprised. I'm surprised she's even still there, but I know she's dropping out as far as going anything further than what she is right now. Okay, let's switch lanes real quick. Let's go over to Candace Owens. Candace Owens actually did a clip on why she didn't trust Nick Shirley. And I thought this was very interesting. I know this is going to be news I also say for tomorrow, but I just had to, because I was like, wow, Candace thinks Nick is a plant. And that is interesting, because if Candace thinks that, I wanted to know why. I didn't get to watch this clip in its entirety, so I'm watching it with you guys, so let's take a listen.
And now we've moved away from that. That should just be a headline that your brain automatically rejects, right? A 23-year-old kid, absent any connections, infiltrated a gang in 48 hours is like they are trying you right now. Okay, so I have been trying to stress to you that we are kind of barreling toward a society of make-believe. It's very scary. Actually, if you just pause for a second and consider it, it's very strange that they're trying to see if they can sort of force us to believe things that are just not so. And they become angry and they become insistent and they spend more money and they're just getting influencers that go out there and I felt this way, by the way, when the transgender thing was happening. I was very vocal against this. It's like there's a difference between a woman and a man, and they just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And it's like, you can, wear the clothes that you want to wear and feel how you feel, but there is such a thing as reality, okay? And now we've moved away from that becoming a social issue, and it was always, obviously political, but we're starting to see this in politics. We're starting to see them, and that, of course, is the example with Dr. Kirk and her entire background, which makes no sense, where the entire world notices that this is what the Erica Kirk story feels like. It feels to me, if you're a conservative, like it felt when we were going through the transgenderism argument, where we all know that this is not right. So maybe some people are pretending to be nice. It's actually a perfect analogy here. A lot of people who I know who initially were like, yeah, let's support transgenderism. It's not because they believed it. They just were like, it's just nice. It's the nice thing to do, right? I would say a lot of lefties found themselves in that category. That person feels that way, let them feel that way. And it's the same thing with the Erica Kirk story, where they're just ignoring the facts. They're ignoring all the lies. And they're just like, well, it's just nice because her husband died that we shouldn't even consider whether or not she's lying about things or whether or not she's helping to cover up certain things that would help us solve the mystery of how her husband died. And she's not acting right. She's not acting like a grieving widow. I'm going to give you another example of this, like recently. This Nick Shirley guy, this thing that is going on, okay? It's now getting weird enough that I do feel the need to comment and weigh in. I didn't even know that this was a beef that I accidentally stumbled upon, that people were saying like he's the term that they use here is Fed jacketed. Like essentially he's being created by the media. There are a lot of people that are like that. I would say Barry Weiss is a perfect example. Like we all know she's not qualified to be an executive at CBS. They just don't care. They're just, there you go, Barry Weiss. And this Nick Shirley thing is one of the weirdest non-beefs that I have ever had. So I'm going to back up here and say I did not follow at all the quote-unquote rise of Nick Shirley. He's 24 years old. It was, if I recall, like very quickly after the Charlie Kirk assassination. He was sort of introduced first on the Charlie Kirk show on the day he died. Remember, we covered that. That's the reason I covered him on the show on September 10th when I was trying to work through timelines and I made a mistake. And I completely owned that mistake and had a conversation with him. Right after the Charlie Kirk assassination, suddenly I was not emotionally available to look at other topics, to cover other topics. I was not interested in other trends. And suddenly we have this kid, 23 years old, I think he was last year. And they say Nick Shirley has uncovered massive welfare fraud in the Somalian community in Minnesota. Okay, a friend of mine just got shot in the neck. Don't really care to follow the story. Daycare fraud. Great, thumbs up. Did not peek beyond that at all. I want to be perfect.
And I remember this part that Candace is talking about. This pretty much I would say was one of Nick's biggest claim to fames. Right here is that all of that Somali fraud out in Minnesota. He was out there, boots on the ground, right, talking to people. I remember this. He was going from daycare center to daycare center and saying like, "Hey, I want to register my son. Can my son go to school here? You know, can I register him for daycare?" And they were just kind of like, no. When he would go, there were either no children there at all or the daycare was closed. So yeah, I totally remember when Nick was doing this.
Perfectly clear here. I did not watch or read even 1 minute of what he uncovered. So color me completely ignorant of the welfare fraud story in Somalia. Just being honest with you, I didn't have it in me then, and I just truly did not care. Okay, so then fast forward to me mentioning Nick Shirley on the show, and I was like, okay, who is this guy? And I was quite stunned that there was this video out there of him saying that he infiltrated the most dangerous gang in Brazil in 48 hours. Like, that's so objectively stupid and ignorant. You have to be so ignorant to even believe it. That's just be a headline that your brain automatically rejects, right? A 23-year-old kid, absent any connections, infiltrated a gang in 48 hours is like they are trying you right now. They're not even trying to give us like good slop anymore. Like we're beneath the level of Fed slop with this, right? It's just stupid. It's nothing personal, Nick Shirley. It's just dumb when you hear it that a person infiltrate a 23-year-old kid, and I did say a white boy for a reason, which I will explain, infiltrated the most dangerous gang in Brazil by himself with cameras. Okay. Anyway, Nick Shirley, after I said this on my show, the next day it was like trending, and all of these people, the people I trust the least, by the way, I mean, like Tim Pool, everyone's like writing these statements like Nick Shirley got punched in the face by me, because I'm not an idiot. I don't have to look deeper into that story. It's obviously objectively on its face untrue and made up. I don't know if it's for entertainment. I don't know if it's for funsies. I don't know the purpose of making up something like that. I've just lived a little bit of life and know that that's not how it works. And so PBD, who has just been sort of taking swipes at me for like since Charlie Kirk.
Okay, so in case you guys don't know who she's talking about right now when she says PBD, there's shout out to Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David. I watch him. Also, super fan. I'm a fan of his podcast. Love his show, Valuetainment. Shout out to him. That's who she's referring to when she says PPD. Let's just and he does take a couple shots at Candace Owens. I don't think anything has ever been too bad, but if I'm honest, I haven't paid much attention to what PPD has said about Candace Owens, so let's listen.
Kirk died, you know, he notoriously hosted the person who said, I didn't speak to Charlie since 2019, we hadn't spoken, we were at war with each other, whatever, I don't care. It's just added to the pile of people who are constantly just making little snide comments on me. But Nick PBD, who was one of the people who issued a kind statement about Nick Shirley because, gasp, Candace doesn't believe that he infiltrated a gang in 48 hours, hosted him on his show. All right, you guys, way before the food industry failed us and started making low quality, we all sim kept when you visit fieldofgreens.com today. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code Candace at checkout. And they show the clip of what I said, and PBD's pretending he had no idea. He completely already knew I said this. Even the whole little scene you're going to watch between them is just so contrived. It just bothers me on a level of why do we have to live in this soap opera? Why are we all sim characters? Who is pulling the strings? Anyway, I want you to listen to this conversation that they have.
Who in the market is supporting you? Who in the market is criticizing you that you're surprised on the conservative side? Are there people who are like, Nick, go, you're doing great, and then there's people that are like, yeah, I don't know if I like what he's doing?
Candace Owens came after me a while back. That was very interesting.
Why would Candace Owens come after you?
I don't know. She like didn't believe my Brazilian favela video, and
it's not even so you're talking. This was a couple years ago.
This is like recent. She's like, white boy. I'm like, it was very like snarky of her to do this.
Interesting. This is it?
Yeah.
Well, which video is that? Is that a recent video?
From the last summer.
I'm just going to say I don't believe that at all. I'm sorry. I just, it's so stupid. I'm not even going to tell you why I don't believe it. It's like if you don't know that that's stupid, that he infiltrated the gang in 48 hours. That's so dumb. I'm so tired of dumb. That's not how that works, okay? You don't just go up to gangs on the street as a nice-looking white boy with a camera and say, hey, I just wanted to sort of see what you're doing here. What's going on? Okay, just stop. That's stupid. Of course, that's dumb. I'm sorry, Nick. I know you're young. I hope, whoever is your contact that has you infiltrating Antifa and infiltrating El Salvador at the age of 23 years old. It just feels like Sean Penn young to me.
Meaning your handler or you're representing somebody?
She's basically saying that's fake.
She's saying that's fake.
And I'm like, well, maybe if these podcasters would actually leave their podcast studios, no offense, Pat, they leave their podcast studios and go and do journalism, they'd actually see stuff just sometimes just happens.
It was that last part that really sent me because it's just so LOL. And then this whole what?
See, it's like, I don't even want to say that Nick almost sound believable. He didn't. But the last part definitely makes him sound unbelievable. Where he's like, I just wish if some of these podcasters would actually leave their house, they'd be able to see that stuff just happens. And it's like, not stuff like that, Nick. That's the point of her saying that she's just lived life a little bit and she knows that things just don't work like that. Yeah, normally when you walk up in areas like that, and she's saying it because culturally where you're at, right? And you're Caucasian and you're just coming up with some type of microphone. You don't even have any type of ethnic descent of anything about you. Yeah, it usually doesn't work out like that. You probably would be killed or a prisoner of war, right? So that's the reason why Candace is saying, yeah, nice try. Rusty Cray says she should go back and watch us talk about her grandfather. Her pregnant is the cookbook experience doesn't work for her. No, it doesn't. And I watched Candace go back and forth over the years. God, I watched Candace for a long time. It's kind of the same reason why I watch a couple of people on here. I'm okay with watching both sides. When people jump in and they get on me about things like that, oh my God, Q, I can't believe you. I'm just like, just pipe down. I'm going to do it anyway, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's how I collect my sources. That's how I collect my work. So I literally want to save some of this for tomorrow. I don't want to watch all of this tonight because I want to save some of it for tomorrow's news as well. And because I didn't do afternoon news with you guys, I want to do afternoon news with you guys tomorrow. So let's see what happens. I don't mind night news. I love night news, but you guys know, I'm an early person. I love it. Early bird gets the worm, right? And that's one way to look at it. But also, I have a nighttime audience, and I know that. It's just that sometimes, depending on my schedule, it depends on just how I feel, guys. I still got a whole family to take care of. So with that being said, let's close out the live stream with a Christian clip. I think I want to watch Cliff tonight. Let me see something. How far about the games? I'm not that far with Candace, but I did want to watch this Pete Hegseth clip really quick, just to see how he was going to answer the question. And then we had Bakari Sellers. There was a couple of things that I still had that I'm glad I didn't necessarily get to a long time of it, because I want to be able to save it. So let me find that clip by Cliff View.
why don't you try to do real journalism and like leave your basement from podcasting? Alex Clark kind of backed this up too, because like she can't miss an opportunity. Turning Point can't miss an opportunity because I think I took from them what they believe is rightfully theirs. But she wrote this: Nick Shirley is a real journalist. Candace Owens is not. Oh, okay. So we're in a podcast. We're in the basement. Hey, Nick. So the reason why we know that doesn't make sense actually is because you have to be the most sheltered person in the world to even have to need it to be explained to you why that's not plausible. Okay. It's not a job. Okay. People just live in these scenarios. People like literally, I have 5-year-olds in my family who have seen more and lived through more than you've probably ever lived through in your life. The circumstance itself did not happen. And I cannot tell you how much it frustrates me that you're pretending that I'm coming from a position of privilege when it's actually the exact opposite. You couldn't do this in Chicago. You couldn't do this in Detroit. Forget in a favela in Brazil. Places like that, which I have Brazilians in my family, you don't even go to parts in Brazil without having someone who is from that place and from that neighborhood. So no, it's not about podcasting in my basement. I actually lived a lot of life, Nick Shirley, before I got to podcasting in my basement, before I was married, before I had children. In fact, I moved down to South America for 2 months to learn Spanish with very strict instructions. The school that I enrolled in, don't wear any jewelry, don't wear any makeup, don't look American. You don't just go down there, as I said, and why I'm pointing out the fact that you are a white boy is because you don't look like them. The whole idea when you're down there is to blend in, not to come with the camera, a Mormon kid from Utah with the camera. Hey, what's the most dangerous game in this favela? Can I infiltrate in 48 hours? It just didn't happen. It didn't even kind of happen. And like I said, that could only work. You'd have to sell this to billionaires. Right? You could only make people who have never touched their own door handles. Like you'd have to grow up like Paris Hilton and go somewhere where Nick Shirley is and he tells you about how he infiltrated a favela and she would think that that's plausible because she's never even been to like a dangerous gas station. That's how fake that is. Like there are gas stations on the New Jersey Turnpike that people, you couldn't infiltrate. You couldn't buy a bag of chips and feel safe, okay? And you're trying to tell us that you're just a 23-year-old kid who infiltrated a favela in 48 hours. I don't need to pierce beyond the layer. I've just lived these things. I've lived these circumstances, and so have the majority of people. And so I don't understand the purpose of Nick Shirley. I didn't know there was this huge scandal, and then subsequently found out that people, think he's fed jacketed. I wasn't trying to hit upon that. I just watched the video and had a reaction to how stupid it was that they're trying to sell it. They're not even giving us good psyops anymore. They have such low respect for us.
Yep. And I can't disagree. Candace is right about that. Very low respect for us. And that's why they'll say somebody like Nick Shirley, 23 years old, no context, no government context. Now, I mean, the more you listen to it, the more it's like, is Nick Shirley a plant? Now, that's very interesting, right? And I'm going to save some of that for tomorrow's news. So let's go to the last 2 clips of the live stream. I'm going to do a Candace Owens short, and then we're going to go to a short by Cliff Buell. We're going to end the live stream with a Christian clip. He's talking about a gold statue that Trump has in, I think he has this in Mar-a-Lago. I've seen this before. And I'm pretty sure he's going to relate it to the statue Nebuchadnezzar built in the Bible. But before we get to that, let's watch this last YouTube short by Candace Owens.
Erica Kirk is maybe she's now Dr. Erica Kirk. I know she said that she wanted to go home. She says a lot of stuff. She's in drapes. Nobody knows why. She told us that she was going to take some time to be with her family. And she came in dressed like Janet Jackson. She yelled at me. She yelled at Drewski. She yelled at you for the fact that she had to go confront the wine bottles that were on the table. And then I'm taking a break, but then actually now she's not taking a break again. It's a quick break and she's back. She went to Michigan and to Hillsdale College to deliver a commencement address. Okay, it's her prerogative. I think we're all adjusted to this new program of Erica can do whatever she wants. And simultaneously, she accepted a posthumous doctorate degree for Charlie, honorary doctorate, and also an honorary doctorate for herself. And I want to be clear that people that are on the left and have been enduring people on the right saying DEI, people should not be hired on the basis of how they look. They should not receive achievements. It's a regular beat. And I do believe that, by the way. I'm anti-DEI as well. But they're on the internet and they have something to say about it. The internet is saying this stands against everything that you guys preached. Why is she getting an honorary doctorate? What has she accomplished? And I'm just going to read one of these tweets. This was written by someone named Brian Allen. I don't know who this is, but they wrote.
Yeah, I would say this is interesting to me too. Like I said, I didn't get to watch this clip in its entirety, but the reason why this is interesting to me is because the way Charlie talked about college. So because of the way that Charlie talked about college, he wasn't a huge fan of college at all. He actually, I can't tell you how many times I was listening to his show and someone called in and said, Charlie, my daughter, my niece, my neighbor, whatever have you, stopped going to college and actually went and got married. And she's in her first year of marriage and she's trying to have kids now. Because this is one thing Charlie used to say, like, is a high desire for young women. And they actually rather be married and be young mothers, right? And be mothers in general than to, go to school, strive, hit this high mark of success that society puts on them. This was literally Charlie's theology pretty much, right? So it makes it, this is, I can't lie, this is weird to me too, because of how, I wonder how Charlie would have felt getting an honorary doctorate. I mean, the whole time he was alive, he didn't get one, right? But we're not shocked that he got it in his death. That's when people tend to get their flowers, right? But it's just kind of crazy. So not only does she get to accept Charlie's honorary doctorate degree, but she gets one for herself.
I'm just going to read one of these tweets. This was written by someone named Brian Allen. I don't know who this is, but they wrote, Hillsdale College, one of America's loudest opponents of DEI, just gave a woman an honorary doctorate and commencement speech opportunity because of who her husband is. That is the definition of DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion for me and not for thee. So conservatives, I hate to call balls and strikes here, but yeah, that's right. That is actually the very definition of DEI. When people have someone come and give a commencement address, that's usually not the circumstances that you give someone an honorary doctorate for.
Yeah.
Fair. I don't mind it. I get it. Like I said, I'm adjusted to this new program that she can do whatever she wants and they're just going to keep handing her stuff and she's just going to become more and more accomplished. And people that are calling this out and saying she's not qualified for this, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. So I say more power to her. I think we should call her Dr. Erica Kirk. I think we should lean in to the absurdity of where we're at right now as a society, where everyone can see what she is. And apparently she's a part of the elite class of people. Let's call it the Epstein class of people who just don't have to answer. There's no consequences for anything, and they can make us the bad guys for noticing. So I salute you, Dr. Kirk. Erica Kirk. Maybe she's now Dr.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, let's go over to Cliff Buell, guys. So we're going to end a live stream with Cliff Buell. Shout out to Cliff Buell, Christian content creator here on YouTube. Been watching Cliff for some time. Way before he had over 1 million subscribers. Go check his channel out when you get a chance. Let's talk. Let's hear Cliff talk about Donald Trump's 22-foot long statue.
Donald Trump just got a 22-foot golden statue of himself. It was just unveiled at his golf course in Miami, and it was built and paid for by some crypto investors. Now, this is some Nebuchadnezzar type energy, and it should have never happened, because this is the literal way that we create idols, right? If you read your Bible, it's easy to know that, hey, don't build golden statues of people. You want to honor somebody, honor them all day long. Get them some flowers or a gift. Do not build a gosh dang gold statue. We don't need another golden calf. We don't need no golden beef tallow. Just honor the man like a regular person without spending $450,000 on his statue. This is crazy. And if I was Trump, without spending $450,000.
No, the 22-foot gold leaf statue of Donald Trump, known as the Don Colossus, unveiled in May 2026. Sorry, guys, at Trump National Door in Miami, costs approximately $450K. Bro, almost $500,000, bro. It was funded by investors behind the crypto token Patriot and created by Ohio artist Alan Cottrell. Okay, well, someone created it for him. Bro, $500,000 for this madness.
Dollars on his statue. This is crazy. And if I was Trump, I would be getting rid of that thing. It is a bad look. It's a form of idolatry. It really is. I know people aren't going to like this, but we need to stand firm on biblical truths. We need to look at the history of what happens when we build up these statues. It's not good. Donald Trump just got...
Hey, Cliff, we don't care if they don't like it, Cliff. We don't care if they don't like it, because that's what that is. That mess is crazy. $450,000, my apologies, for a 22-foot statue. Yep. But if you guys go back to the beginning of the live stream, I said that. I was like, watch Cliff bring up something about Nebuchadnezzar from the Bible. Yeah. Because Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible, he builds a golden statue of himself. And he says after the statue is built that whenever the music plays, that everybody in the land is going to stop what they're doing and they're going to bow down to this statue. And this is where we have the famous story of the 3 Hebrew boys, where sometimes if a black pastor's preaching it and he wants to be charismatic towards his congregation, he'll say Meshach, Shadrach, and a big Negro. This is where we get the story from, right? Because these are the boys that would not bow down when Nebuchadnezzar played the music, right? They get thrown into the fiery furnace. Nebuchadnezzar, first of all, Nebuchadnezzar's an idiot, because before he throws them in the fiery furnace, he gets so mad at them because they won't worship, and then he's asking them questions, and then he gets more pissed at how they're answering. So he turns up the furnace, which is stupid, right? Like, I think he burns one of his guys, singes something, and then he like throws them in. And this is where we see the famous Bible verse of like Nebuchadnezzar saying, I threw 3 men in there, but it looks like 4, and one of them looks like the Son of Man, right? So this is where this comes from. I mean, Trump having... So if you guys sit there and you say to me, okay, Q, are you buying into this? Are you saying that Trump is Nebuchadnezzar? I'd be like, no, that's kind of crazy. I'm just not... I just don't put that much effort into stuff like that. I just don't think Trump is Nebuchadnezzar because I can see Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible. So I don't think he's that. But sure, like a form, whatever. Like, Trump is Trump. We know Trump loves himself. We know that. He likes to hit himself tall. He loves his hair. We know this stuff about President Trump already. But shout out to Cliff for posting that video, because yeah, like you said, a lot of people are not going to like it. They're going to say, oh, leave him alone. He's Donald Trump. He's the president of the United States. It's a statue of himself. Plenty of kings, queens, blah, blah, blah has that. But as someone that tries his best in public, at least, to identify with Christianity, a statue like that is a problem. So shout out to Cliff Buell for being able to say something about it, for you know, having the balls to get online and say, hey, check this out, this ain't right. We can't do this like this, because everybody's not going to be willing to say that. Some people are going to be worried about being censored. Some people are going to be worried about people watching their videos or liking them. So shout out to Cliff for, you know, saying what's on his heart and being real to the gospel. Shout out to him. Guys, remember, Jesus is for everybody. You guys know that. I share that with you guys on this channel all the time. Even though we follow things over here, news, politics, IRL, events, culture, it doesn't matter. Cultural shock, drama, whatever we follow on here, Jesus is king. Jesus is king. And you guys know that. That's why I make sure if I don't play some type of video about it, some type of clip about it, and begin the live stream about it, you know we're going to get it in there some way. Even if I want to spend a live stream doing it. But I also am going to spend a live stream talking about finances. So I'm not going to talk about that too much, because I got to get ready for my day tomorrow. So shout out to you guys for hanging out with me on the corner tonight. As promised, night news. My bad about afternoon news, but shout out to everybody who stood by and hung out on the corner with me. You guys are the best. BEST. I got some GOATs, GOATS in my chat. So shout out to you guys. We'll be back tomorrow for the morning news. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Love yourselves. Love one another. Be peaceful. Tell somebody about Jesus. Peace.